Hello everyone, and welcome as we are now in the Lone Star State. As we are here and everything they say is bigger in Texas, well, A Squared is looking to prove that true as we move further and further on with the A Squared season. Already, I believe, 7 rounds in as we are getting closer and closer to playoff time and well over 15, 14 weeks' time. Still a long way away, but it's still a good chance for these drivers to make inroads to make the playoffs. So thank you for joining us for the 7-Bar Barbecue 240 here at Texas Motor Speedway. We join you right now in the middle of qualifying as drivers begin to take their laps, and one of those drivers is this man, John Hagen. Only driver to win 2 times this season, defending series champion after being the champion last year, and now he is on his 2nd lap here, and at the moment, it looks like it's trending in the right direction, currently at purple Sector 1. He'll have to beat a time currently set up by Jacob Bradley, who is currently at a 29.44. Now, obviously, we'll talk a little bit more about some drivers in a minute. We'll let Hagen finish his lap here, and that will be good enough to dispose of Jacob Bradley. John Hagen, now fastest with a 29.40. We'll look at a few other drivers on their runs. Riley Machio, Mike LaJoy, Alfred George, and Ross Baxter. We'll give the Bahama Man a chance here in the number 40. Jimmy John's Machine. I'd like to thank Just the Top for sponsoring these qualifying sessions throughout the A Squared season, as they have been a great partner to have on board these last couple seasons. So, looking at the moment right now, our top 5 are John Hagen, Jacob Bradley, Drew Jua, Brandon Featherplace, and Patrick Oberstadt. A nice combination of 5 drivers. Obviously, that can be changed as we watch Alfred George go P30 on his opening lap. Obviously, Jacob Bradley came in last week to fill in for Ryan Pinnell. Ryan Pinnell, I believe, is now back in the car. We'll just check to make sure. Yep, he's in his number 12 machine. He is back, and Bradley now has a ride, I believe, with Presidential Racing to fill in. So he pressed the boss, got a seat, and now he is driving. Drew Jua missed the show last week. He's now currently at P3, looking poised to make it in as an open car. And Patrick Oberstadt as well, another driver that's missed a couple weeks. Good to see him back on the trap. And Alfred George with a flyer, 29.51. I'm shocked a little bit because he's a good driver to some degree, but he has not really been the fastest in qualifying, and he has blistered a lap time there. Alfred George, P6 in that number 40 Jimmy John's Machine. So good lap by him. We'll see if he can make that into race pace. And with everyone else finishing up their rounds, Ross Baxter just finished up his lap, and Riley Machio, as you see him in his number 32 Smeal Racing Designs Machine, also finishing his lap. That means we have 43 cars, 43 entries. No one will be going home. So we will race on to the session here. Obviously, drivers will take this opportunity to do some extra practice laps. We see Murciano and Ross Baxter doing it. Actually, Ross Baxter is now coming in. So we'll see if Murciano elects to go on a lap here. And it looks like he is. So we're actually going to go inside the cockpit of the 32 machine of Riley Murciano, as we're going to kind of see a lap around Texas from his perspective. Now, obviously, driving this here with an open track with cars in front of you is a completely different animal, but it's still noteworthy in its own right. So you can see as he goes off, lifts a little bit. We'll judge his 3 and 4 here. Yeah, you can see him lifting, not really putting too much brake into it. Other drivers may put just a tiny bit of brake to try to save the tire. And it's pretty much just lift, go, but we're going to have to see how these cars handle the aero wash and the draft and a bunch of other things to try to make moves around here. As we've seen in real-life Texas, it can be a bit tricky to pass around this circuit. So like I have reiterated, 43 cars have qualified on time, and since there's 40 charter cars and 3 open cars, that means everyone makes the show, meaning 43 of 43 will be racing for the flag and racing for victory here. Obviously, John Hagen looking to make it a 3-peat here, as he has been a strong driver throughout these weekends. Jacob Bradley as well, pretty decent in his own right. He's had a good run last week at Watkins Glen. Drew Jua, a bit of an unknown commodity. He's back here. Brandon Featherplace, obviously we know what he can do. This is a track he had circled last time we talked to him when he got a podium. And Patrick Oberstadt, obviously another name that has been out for a while. Good to see him back in that 60. So his qualifying is about to conclude here. Yep, qualifying now will officially conclude, and we will get ready on to the main race here. Qualifying officially done. John Hagan takes another pole position to add to his A square career, and we will move on to the warm-up. So as warm-up is now officially started, drivers will drive around here, take the opportunity to take last-minute preparations, make sure their cars are feeling okay, everything is connected well, and whatnot. And we'll focus on Dale Markowski. Saw he was the fastest in practice. We'll focus on the number 33 Black Acid Racing driver as he exits out of the pit lane here. Some drivers like to use this as an opportunity to get back accustomed with the car. Others like to use it as a bathroom break. Others like to maybe test pit road entry and exit, depending on if we get green flag pit stops or not. Obviously, green flag pit stops will be slated possibly for the second and third stage. However, if cautions do fall, they could become a moot point. So a lot of drivers like to use this time for different things and use it as an ability to practice outward. Taking a quick look to see, I don't think this yet. The theme race is next week. We'll have a theme. This week, no theme, so drivers will run whatever they so choose. Obviously, themes are only indicative if a driver wants to participate. They do not have to if they don't want to, but some drivers like to take the opportunity to run it. Like at Auto Club, a lot of drivers ran a cancer awareness scheme. Obviously, for St. Paddy's Day on March 16th at Atlanta Old, people like to run a lot of Irish schemes. And obviously next week we'll see favorite teams. So drivers will get to run their favorite sports professional team, or even maybe a local team, minor league team, whatever. It could even be a team they participate in, like an esports team. So we'll see all those in accordance. One driver that just went fastest, though, is Nicholas Pressey, as you see, as we cut away for a second, the 33 car practicing entry to pit lane there. That number 94 has gone top of the charts. Braille, Vordon, Featherplace, Bradley, your top 5 at the moment, with a little over half a warm-up already burned off. So I'll take this opportunity myself to get a little bit of some water in my system here. As obviously, I think you can tell if you are watching at home, my voice sounds a little bit on the hoarser side. Nothing too worry about. Still feeling relatively good as we will get ready here and move on. So we'll take this opportunity for 2 minutes ago here. Just let the China cars go around the track and let drivers practice out here. Just to give myself a little bit of time to wet my voice. So enjoy the sights and sounds of Texas, and I will rejoin you when we get ready just before warm-up is officially concluded. So enjoy the sights and sounds of Texas. All right, so I'm now officially back in, all locked in. We will be joining you from basically the start of the session all the way to the end with no interruption. So thank you for tuning in here on ABN Studios for the A Squared 7 Barbecue 240. 7 bar barbecue 240 for the ARCS 7 bar barbecue A Squared Cup Series here at Texas for ABN Studios. Thank you for tuning us in. We'll do one more quick update here, but we are ready to move on as Brea will crash into the wall to signify the end of warm-up, and we will get on to the main race. Brian Dixon, fastest in warm-up. So here we are for the 7 bar barbecue 240 at Texas Motor Speedway, presented by KJF Designs. Drivers have 160 laps awaiting them, stages at 25 and 80, 6 sets of tires, half fuel tank capacity, and lastly, no fast repairs. Before we get onto the race, we'll need to see where everyone will line up, and we will now go over the starting grid. So as you see on the top of the screen, John Hagan and Jacob Bradley will make up the first row. Only bow tie inside the top 10 Jacob Bradley is. He'll see if he can make that Chevy Power work for him in a sea of Fords. Moving on to row number 2, we got, obviously, Drew Jua not showing up on the name tablet there, but he's in number 36. Brandon Featherplace will flank him. They'll make up row number 2. Row 3, Patrick Oberstedt. Patrick Oberstedt and Alfred George, they'll be row 3. Got a little bit mixed up there with the long surnames. They'll make up row number 3. Row 4, Nicholas Pressey and Connor Knowlton. Connor Knowlton's had a few run-ins. He will be here in row number 4. Row 5, Dale Markowski and Brian Dixon. Brian Dixon is the current driver on the cut line in the playoffs at the moment. He'll need a good run to stay in at the moment. Row number 7 will be Matt Vordon and Daniel Michelle. Row 6. Now row 7 will be Connor Morse and Ethan Wood. Row 8, Gavin Hutspeth and Elliot Longenecker. Row 9, Chris Fleming and Seth Wansing. Row 10, Steve Tucker and Edward Marshall. Row 11, David Wright and Jeremy Brault. Row 12, Jonathan Adams and Blake Galloway. Row 13, Kevin Feemster and Cody Pinnell. Row 14, Mark Dila and Davey Hawk. Alyssa Pelletier-Sharp back in the car this week, along with Tommy Withers. They'll make up row number 15. Row 16, Brian Johnson and Vincenzo Icavazzi. Row 17, Ross Baxter and Michael Cheeseburger Lawrence. Row 18, Matthew Kent and Briley Wright. Row 19, Ryan Pinnell and James Kerr. Row 20, Marshall Harris and Joshua Battles. Row 11, Mike LaJoy and Colin McDonough. Row 12, Riley Murciano, and that's obviously our race director, so do not take him into consideration. And that is how the rest of the field will cycle up. So that's how the field will go as we get ready. One more lap of pacing, these drivers, and then we will get ready for the main show. 42 cars on the track. Mark Dila, currently sitting on pit lane. Looks like he had a bit of either a pit lane start choice, or he is elected to start in the front, in the pit lane here. So he is on pit lane at the moment. We'll have to keep an eye on what happens, but right now at the moment, he is going to be in the pit lane for the foreseeable time. Other than that, though, 42 cars on the track at the moment, and that man is our pole sitter, looking to get 3 wins on the year here tonight. And he's looking to be on his way at the moment, but obviously 160 laps await these drivers, and anything can happen. Looking at the moment, lap counter is not showing up directly, so it looks like we'll have to quickly refresh ATVO here just to make sure the laps show up, because obviously it would be very indicative. So when we get the green here, we will take a second, refresh ATVO, but till we get there, we'll let this roll out. While we got this quick opportunity as well, I will kind of highlight drivers I think will have a good day here today. Obviously, John Hagan, he's one driver to keep an eye out for. Brandon Featherplace, hungry for a win. You know, he is itching to finally get a win in the first time over a year and a half. Keep an eye out for him. And we'll go for a little bit of a wild card name here. Honestly, I think you can never count out Daniel Michelle, currently firing off P11, that number 25. He's also hungry for a win. He's been knocking on the door these last couple weeks. So as the pace car gets ready to pull on off, control will be on green flag. Every sensational restart will be on the control of the race leader. And green flag is out, and away we go here at Texas Motor Speedway. So as lap 1 is in the books, John Hagan will lead it as we see a battle between Jacob Bradley and that number 36 machine of Drew battling on the inside line here. About to have STK back up and running here. We'll hope the ticker is now working, and it is. Obviously, we're not, I believe, under caution. We are under green here, so we continue on. We'll, I think, override that. And we'll see as they battle on here as the 06 and 36 battle for second on the track. Ooh, look at that. 06 is a little bit up the road there, and he will end up losing another spot to the 34 as he's now pinned on that high side, trying to find a way down, I would assume, as this is kind of a one-lane track. These drivers have to be careful and make sure they stay in their lanes and get the runs they need to do and push forward. Fastest car on track last time by was this man, the number 2 at Connor Knowlton. He's currently fastest on track, and he's at the end of this train. As you can see, Brandon Featherplace putting the number 36 on the pinch here. As that 36 got trained the 06 on the inside line. It looks like Featherplace is looking to return the favor here. It looks like ATO has not showed back up for the viewer, so give us 2 more seconds here. We're on lap 4 as cars begin to fan out here and battle for position. So we'll see if we can get ATVO working here when we get a break in the action, so do not go anywhere on that. Big battle going down the backstretch, though. 3 wide. Seth Wansing's looking to make a move to the front here. And now we got it going. So ATVO back up and running. So battling on here as Wansing tried to make a big move, but up back towards the front, you can see it's still a bit of a smorgasbord. That number 36 car ran the fastest, 29.38 for his troubles. He is now back in second position here. And it is a short run to stage 1 here. Stage ends on lap 25. So it is not a long run here before stage laps break here. So it's a very quick run to the flag for stage 1, so drivers don't have to be as conservative on their tires to make sure they make it to the finish line. Lap 8 completed, and still no major changes up in the front couple spots here. Top 6 all still under a blanket here as they battle for position here. And looking at one car trying to make a move, Connor Knowlton in that number 2. He's going to go low side and make the switch over under a Patrick Oberstadt. And that will put Connor Knowlton now in the top 5. Does make you wonder with Patrick Oberstadt, obviously not been the car for the past couple of weeks, if there's going to be any possible ring rust or car rust, I should say. And we'll have to see if he can shake that off quite quickly and stay competitive with this top pack. Seeing right up, Brandon Featherplace looking to make a move here for second. So he's going to go inside the 36. As they've been battling hard for second, still no pressure up front as John Hagan has led every lap of these opening 9, now 10 laps. As he's controlling the lanes here. Meanwhile, while we watch this battle for a second, we'll take a second here in a second to look what's going on through the field here. Do not want to let this battle pass, though, as it is still a fight for the finish here. Still side by side across the flag for second there. I think the advantage went the feather place there, but they're still fighting hard. Does make you wonder with this constant fighting, at some point maybe one will have to relent here. As again, looking at that gap right now, it's over half a second from John Hagan to the second place cars. Now that 36 will get clear, I think at some point you got to let that battle go, ensure that you can stay within drafting distance of the race leader to ensure he doesn't pull too far away. Meanwhile, a little bit further down, we'll look at the last driver in on stage points at the moment. That is Ethan Wood in that number 88. He's currently last car in on stage points, currently 10th position, as he's got a healthy distance over Gavin Hudspeth, currently sitting in 11th. Some cars moving forward, you can see Jeremy Braille making a big lunge there on the inside of Steve Tucker. These cars are fighting hard here further back to try to get forward up. Oh, Tucker went up a little bit out of the groove there and almost got ran into by Edward Marshall in that Peach Vibes machine. But they keep it all pointing in the right direction. As Tucker's still way out of the groove here. That's going to cost him at least another spot here. So we're going to head back up towards the front. We see cars kind of battling for position here. Patrick Oberstadt making a move on Jacob Bradley. Bradley been going wrong way quickly in that 06 Lowe's machine. Seems like he's not getting the tire economy he needs at the moment. Maybe trying to save something. We never know in these strategies. Drivers take different elements of strategy here. Patrick will get around here, so Patrick up to 5th and puts Jacob Bradley down to 6th. So everyone's still finding their footing for the most part in this top 10. We're going to go a little bit further back, seeing some battles shake up a little bit outside the top 10. Matt Vordon, one of these drivers making moves, trying to get under the attack here with Seth Wanzing. As they are 2-3 wide right behind Jeremy Braille, Daniel Michelle, and Edward Marshall. 2 wide doesn't always work around here. 3 wide's even less likely. It's just about getting the run off, and they still are 3 wide. Steve Tucker looking to make a big lunge here, as he's going to get onside of Daniel Michelle, and the big loser in that exchange is that number 25. Oh, big lick! Catches you off guard. Trying to see who it was. We saw it. It's Jonathan Adams in the 8. Almost like a gunshot, just catches you off guard. Did not see it, and you can see right there his car is heavily damaged as the pace car hits his fender. Yeah, that is pretty much race done. Toe link broke. Jonathan Adams will be most likely the first retirement here tonight. So let's take a look here, see what exactly happens to that 8 machine. These cars usually don't kick without trouble. Obviously, side by side with Pelletier Sharp. So we're going to play it out. We'll play it with an eye in the sky camera here. It's usually the chopper camera. That's the wrong one. Can usually help give us a sight and sound of what's going on. So we'll play it here. We'll pause here. So Sharp, Adams clears Sharp. Now the question is, oh, Sharp got in the rear end of the 8, upsettled the 8, and that sent the 8 way out of the groove there. And, oh, even at slow motion, it is not a pretty sight to see. Luckily, no one else piles in. Alfred George, oh, he gets lucky. The driver had a great qualifying session. He barely avoids hitting that spinning 8 car, and no one else, luckily, piles in to the 8 machine. We'll take a second look from another angle here, as we'll watch Jonathan Adams go into the corner here. Yeah, right there, that little shunt by Sharp sends it awkwardly around. And again, good avoidance by Alfred George there to avoid piling in, but luckily no one else piles in. We'll take another look. This time we'll focus on the 18 of Pelletier Sharp. We'll ride on board with the 18 here. See, 8 comes up. There's the shunt. Yeah, 8 kind of had a speed differential. So 18 hit the back end, and just a terrible situation all around. And we'll take one more look. We'll focus on the 40 of Elfridge George here, as he's going to have a wild ride of this himself. As there's the contact. You can see right there, just barely avoids hitting him. You do hear minor contact, but will not take Elfridge George out of this race. But yeah, violent lick for Jonathan Adams, and it is going to probably be race done for that number 8 machine. As yeah, he is now behind the wall, and he is out of this race. So back forward we go. John Hagen, still your race leader. As you can see, obviously he has led, I believe it's this one. Oop, a lot of screens here. Yep, he's led 17 of 18 laps, which is interesting. I'm curious to see who the other driver that led one is. I believe that may be a typo, because yeah, he's led almost every lap. Obviously, I may be slightly mistaken. Maybe someone swung around and got him. But he's been a dominating force here as we now officially got the one to go this time by. To do some spring cleaning, some cars elected to come in. Kevin Feemster, Jacob Bradley, Jeremy Braille, Steve Tucker, James Kerr, Mike LaJoy, Alfred George, Davey Hawk, Briley Wright, Colin McDonough. Pretty much everyone 28th on back, all elected to come in, taking some elements, different strategies, but they're looking to, at the very least, try to put themselves in a good spot for the second stage here by sacrificing the first stage. So looking at the top 10 as we'll have a short dash to the flag here of stage number 1. Hagen, Jua, Featherplace, Knowlton, Oberstadt, Pressey, Morse, Murkowski, Wood, Fleming, your top 10. So as we watch, ready for the pace car to pull on off. Control will be on that Tar Heels number 1, getting ready for the theme race. He'll probably be running that paint scheme next week in Martinsville as we get ready to race. Green flag is out, and away we go again here at Texas. 6 laps till the end of stage number 1. Good launch for the front row. They will well clear. Feather Place side by side with Knowlton as they battle for third. Feather Place almost trying to clear there on Knowlton. Rest of the cars fanned out, including 3, 4 wide back there. It's Edward Marshall, Seth Wansing, and the 83 of Hudspeth. As usually 3 wide does not work out the way you want to. However, it looks like they'll all get relatively through unscathed. Well, for the most part, may want to bite the pillow for the moment. 5 laps to go in stage number 1. His car's still fanning out. Going back up towards the front, Connor Knowlton and Featherplace still fighting hard for second here. And again, it's still 3 wide pandemonium down the backstretch, including for the last stage point. Marshall, and caution is out. Looks like Marshall will probably get the stage point here, as that should end the stage. Take a look here to see who exactly it was. Battlebox is telling me the 24 machine. And you can see a little bit of a crunkled front end a little bit. Other than that, though, I'm not seeing anything else of note. So we'll take a look here at the coin at yellow flag. Presumably that will end stage number 1 with John Hagen getting the win. But we're focusing on Steve Tucker here. And we're just going to let it play out in real time here. Oh, got right in the back of Feemster, Braille. And this is a lot of the cars that came into pit to try to maybe jump the stage there. So we'll take another look. Obviously, we see Steve Tucker slow here. We're going to wind it a little bit, and then we're going to go with an eye in the sky look here, as it usually can be indicative of what we need. So we'll go with a nice chopper camera, and we'll play it out here at a 4th speed. So focus on that 24 machine in the middle of your screen. Ryan Pinnell just ahead, Kevin Feemster as well. Is it going to be a speed differential thing, possibly? We're going to watch here. The accident's going to be coming up here just shortly. Oh, very odd. It looks like, yeah, just 2 drivers kind of hit the same point at the same time. They both collided, and then that got right into Mike LaJoy. And that point, Braille, good avoidance, but clips Briley right just a bit. So, very no harm, no foul situation, but obviously it still brings out a caution and some minor damage for Steve Tucker. So back to live action, pit lane a crowded place, as that was the end of stage number 1. John Hagen, you see on your screen, he was your winner of stage number 1. And now he will leave the pit box, but he'll get jumped by Daniel Michel there, as he will be the first car off pit lane, as he took fuel only. Everyone else coming out of the pit lane took 4 tires. Meanwhile, 5 cars elected to stay out, including that driver, Jacob Bradley, Jeremy Braille, Cody Pinnell, Briley Wright, and Mark Dila. They all took 4 tires under the caution before the stage break. So presumably stayed out here, took advantage of the track position, and obviously you saw Braille get a slight shiner with his contact with Briley Wright, but overall, from many of the angles we see, not seeing anything of damage on that Taco Bell 74. So they continue on. Stage 2 will end on lap number 80, so we got a little bit of ways away before Stage 2 will officially start. Meanwhile, we'll take this opportunity to do some clearance work here. Right now, 42 cars still running. Michael Lawrence, last car on track at the moment. A few cars elected to come in, including Blake Galloway, Kevin Feemster, James Kerr, Alfred George. That's the wrong screen. There we go. Yeah, you see drivers coming down here to top off. Obviously, you can see George, Galloway, Feemster, Hawk, McDonough, Kerr, and LaJoy all coming in here to top off. However, looking at fuel capacities, looking at stage, it's going to be a green flag pit stop presumably looms for this field as drivers are being a little extra cautious here to get a little extra top off to make sure they got that, maybe not enough fuel, but at least a little extra fuel in the tank just in case they want to try a differing strategy here and try to make it to the end of stage number 2. So when we go green here in about 30 seconds here, control will be on that 06 Lowe's machine, Jacob Bradley. This will be Braille, Bradley, Pinnell, Wright, Michelle, Dila, Jua, Hagen, Nolan, Featherplace, your top 10. Green flag is out, and away we go again for stage number 2. And we have a quick caution here, so we're going to let him try to run around here, but quick caution is called, and it looks like it's going to involve the 18 of Peltier Sharp, the 17 of Kevin Feems, who's already towed back the pit lane, and the 05 of Blake Galloway there in the 05. Yep, 05. So 3 cars involved here. Obviously big enough damage for Feemster to tow. Sharp and Galloway look like they can continue on here. So we'll have to take a look here, see what exactly happened. So obviously a little bit further back here, which is never, in the most part, indicative. But obviously there's the 17 of there's Sharp. They're all on the same track. So we're going to go, again, I love to say it, eye in the sky never lies. And we're going to focus on that 17 at the moment as we're going to play this at a 4th speed. So up the road there, you can see Murciana and, Cheeseburger Lawrence get a little bit loose. So we're going to jump up those two. 47's on the apron, 32 still trying to save it. Oh, then he ping-pongs outward, and that clips the 05, the 17, and the 18 all in synchrony. And that's another big lick for the 17, who's in pretty much a similar spot that what happened to Jonathan Adams. So overall, just bad, kind of a bad placement, a bad situation, and you can see the effect that has had. So we'll play it again here. This time we'll focus on where we know the incident happened at the 32 and the 47. So we'll play it out here, and this time we'll go from a different angle. And just let's watch this. Let's not watch it at a full fast speed, but we'll watch it at a regular speed here. Yeah, 32 just tried to came down. 47 was there. It shot 32 up, and then just 3 drivers that were just innocent bystanders ended up getting into the incident. And it takes one of these cars out of this race and gives 2 other ones a good amount of damage. We'll take one more time. This time we'll focus on the 17. We'll ride on board with the 17 as he's going to have a very scary lick here. There's just nothing you can do in those situations. He's riding there. By the time he gets hip checked, it's already too late, and it's pretty much race done, as you can see him instantly jump back to the pit lane. So back to live action. Peltier Sharp on pit lane. Believe at the same point, yet Blake Galloway is also there as well, as you can see in the 05. But up front, it's still pretty much the Bradley Braille show, as nothing really major happened to warrant any major changes. Other than that, though, a few other cars, no other cars elected to come in. Actually, I think a couple did. McDonough, LaJoy, and George all elected to come in here and top off. And it looks like they're coming in again to top off. So, along with the 21 there. So, pit lane, a bit of a crowded place here, as we now got the one to go. Yeah, the 40, the 29, the 39, the 32, the 21, and the 18 all in, as the 18 has been still, I believe, on pit lane here. Yep, she has gone at least one down from the damage she had on the incident. So taking a chance to get reorganized here. 38 cars on the lead lap. Riley Machio, 1 down, along with Davey Hawk. Peltier Sharp, 2 down. Kevin Feebster and Jonathan Adams out of this race. Third caution of the night, not including stage breaks. So technically, if you count that, it'd be technically 4. So we get ready to go again here. Pace car going to pull on off. Control will be on the 06 of Jacob Bradley. Green flag is out, and away we go again. Good launch by the 06 Lowe's machine as they all head off into turn number 1. Oh, John Hagan clips the grass there for a second. Maybe being a little bit overzealous, as he'll be 3 wide back here. Caught my eye. Usually going through the grass does not signify having a good time. However, everyone else keeps it pointing the right direction. Nicholas Pressey and the 49 machine of Connor Morris is on the attack here in that nationwide machine as they battle for position here. But up front, it's still Jacob Bradley leading the way as he just set a personal best Sector 2 best on the field. Ooh, still a lot of battles here. Top 5 broken away here. Dan Michelle, Mark Dila, they both stayed out under the caution. Well, Dila did. Michelle came in the top off for fuel. And then you got the cars that took 4 tires trying to pounce through. Obviously, Drew in the 36 was able to get through the quickest, so he's the farthest on the freshest tires. Meanwhile, Hagan and Knowlton still kind of buried back here as that gap grows bigger and bigger by the moment. Keeping an eye on this battle. Obviously, we're also keeping an eye up the front as the 36 car has just set the fastest lap of the race. Is looking maybe to one-up that lap here in a second. Just watching multiple battles here. We're going to cut back up to the lead to get resynced here. And you can see the 36 hounding the back of Jeremy Braille. A little bit further back, you can see the 25 Michelle just getting trained on that high side. Just got passed by our 500 winner, Chris Fleming. Patrick Oberstadt, Matt Vordon as well, looking to try to make a move on this low side, as that strategy of coming in for fuel only has not worked out nicely, as it does show you do need tires at the very least to be competitively fast around here. Ooh, Seth Wansing in a close shave there, saw it on the angle with that 00 and that 15, but luckily everyone keeps it pointed in the right direction. So we'll take this opportunity while I watch this battle here just for a second. Again, nothing really happening in the top 10 spots. So everyone's pretty much single file nose to tail, so we'll stay on this battle for the moment. As Wansing gets a good run there, going to try to pass Daniel Michelle on the high side. Meanwhile, you can see just up the road, Chris Fleming and Patrick Oberstadt. They also battle for position here. So as Wansing gets around, we will jump to that battle as they both try to get caught up here to Connor Morse. Oh, little bit of a shove down there. Daniel Michel, I think, got a little loose and almost got sideswiped by the 0-0. Got hooked on the 0-0. Luckily, they all keep pointing in the right direction. Matthew Kent going to be the big possible winner in this exchange. However, he cannot finish the move on that 0-0. So having a lot of close shaves here. Some cars fighting the tire differential here just to try to stay forward. Others just trying to battle out. And you can put a less than an index card between those two right now, as they are still side by side. Gavin Hudsmith looking to join the party as well. Can't get anything done. We're going to go up a little bit off the field. Nicholas Pressey at the moment battling Brandon Featherplace. They battle for 9th right now on track. Big battle for 9th. As they're still side by side at the moment. As you also see up the road, Hagan and Knowlton, they're fighting for position as well. As Hagan's on that low side, he will get the job successfully done ahead of Knowlton. So put Hagan up to 6th, Knowlton down to 7th. We stay on this battle as we watch it. And while we watch this battle, we'll cut one car back. We'll focus on Mark Dila here. So he's got a pretty good view of what we're watching here. So as you see, Pressey gets ahead. There you can see at the high line, that's Briley Wright currently on the high line. Connor Knowlton trying to go low side here. But you can see that gap grow as Bradley has gotten a big gap to our second place car, Drew Jua. As Jua, Bradley, Pinnell, Hagan, your top 5. As you can see, Hagan now going to try to go high side here. So we're going to cut back up to Hagan and watch him as now he's going to try to go high side around that 28 machine of Connor Pinnell. And he'll successfully get it done. So as Hagan rips and rides, he'll get up to 4th position. Pinnell down to 5th. John Hagan's looking to try to recapture that lead he lost off pit stop cycle. Meanwhile, top 10 in stage number 2 at the moment is all on your screen at the moment. As you can see right now, hold that thought as Hagan looking to try to make a move on Jerry Braille, but Mark Dila is that last car in on stage points as he is currently sitting in 10th position. Hagan, aggressive clear in front of Braille. Obviously, they used to be teammates, now no longer the case, so got to make sure you're not going to get as friendly of a result if you're not careful there, so you got to make sure you do your moves and do them successfully. But John Hagan, being an experienced vet, will currently slide into 3rd position. Meanwhile, they're going to catch the lap down car of Blake Galloway as they'll all successfully navigate around, but you can see the speed differential there as it played a major factor as he's just going to pin it to the high side here and allow everyone to pass. But that is going to basically be the catch-up thing if you need, like a power-up in Mario Kart. As you can see, the effect that has basically neutralized the gap Jacob Bradley has had. And in turn, is now game on here in these bad positions we're watching. So as we watch the top 10, again, stage ends on, I will confirm the number real fast, but stage ends on, I believe, lap 80. It is going to be lap 80. So lap 80 is the end of stage 2. We're currently halfway to the end of stage number 2. And it's still Jacob Bradley on those older 4 tires, about a 5-lap difference between his tires and John Hagan's tires. And we know Jacob Bradley's struggling a little bit with tire wear, so we got to see if he can keep this deficit here as Drew is going to try to make a move on that low side. If he gets held up a little bit, John Hagan may be ready to capitalize. And look at that inside, as smooth as you kind of like it. It's going to be a big shot down the backstretch here. Jua, Hagan, Bradley fighting 3 wide. Who's going to lift, if anyone's going to lift? In the middle is the 36. Hagan a little aggressive. He's going to clip the side pod of the 36, and he'll have to back out. 36 will lead that lap. Drew will take the lead. Hagan, the big loser. Luckily does not wad it up, though, but he is going to fall down to 5th position. So John Hagan falling down to 5th, with Knowlton and Brea both getting clear. Brandon Featherplace has also joined this fray. And I will say it's very hard to get that same excitement level I love to get when you are stuffed up like I am. So, but you got to make do with the hand you're dealt. Featherplace. Oh, Nolan just hits the wall a little bit there. Got a little shunt from Hagen. Obviously, they both were trying to push down the straightaway to try to clear because it was line supremacy at that point. But that shunt actually seemed to help Nolan. So even though he hit that wall, that car is still pointing the right direction. Hagen will get around Braille. And now Featherplace and Braille fight for top 5 honors. Speaking of that 74, he is the current highest mover throughout the field, one of the highest movers. He's up 17 spots. Briley Wright is the biggest mover at the moment, up 27 spots, currently sitting in 9th position. Oh, looking a little further back, Chris Fleming and Briley Wright, they were almost argy-bargy off the corner. So we're going to cut to that, watch it, as we'll see what exactly is transpiring here. Looks like they've gotten it sorted out for the most part, but you could see it was very fighting off the corner there. So we'll cut back up to top 5. Hold that thought. Seth Wanzing looking to make a move here. I saw Featherplace and Knowlton fighting, but do not want to cut away from a 3-wide battle, or else Race Control will have my head. Wright will end up just backing out of it, knowing he's got the less tire here, and will not fight that position. So cutting up a little first, Mark Dila, he's coming in the pit lane here. Obviously, he was just inside the top 10. We'll see if it's scheduled or unscheduled for the 80 machine, so we'll keep an eye on his times. Meanwhile, battle for 3rd, Featherplace and Knowlton. Toyota versus Ford. And we have a quick caution here, so that could be the saving grace for Dila. He may still go 1 down here. Trying to see who it is. Not seeing anyone on the battle box. Looks like it's David Wright and Gavin Hudspeth. There it pops up. So obviously Hudspeth and Wright, heavy damage on that right side for David Wright. So obviously, first of all, I'm curious to see if Dila, Dila will stay on the lead lap here. So real fast, just to kind of say Dila, I think. Well, actually, I don't think he will stay on the lead lap. So we'll do an update on that in a second. But we are going to take a look at what exactly transpired in this incident. And already you can see the incident there. So we'll have to rewind a little bit to figure out what exactly happened. So watching the incident here, looks like Steve Tucker may play a role in this. So we're going to watch Steve Tucker. And we'll go with our eye in the sky camera. Oh, no, Dave Wright just loses on his own, so no apologies to Steve Tucker. No, he had no impact on his situation. It was just David Wright kind of lost it off corner exit and kicked, and he ended up shooting it up the road, piling into the 83. So we'll take another look again. At the point of the caution, obviously, it was here-ish. So we'll watch out again. You can just see we'll wind it back a little bit. But yeah, car gets a little loose. She tries to save it, and just the 83 happened to be there. Nothing you can really do in certain situations, and that being one of them. Again, hopefully not major damage for either car. We'll take one more look. We'll focus on the 11 machine of Joshua Battles, as he has a great look at this incident himself. So we'll play it out here. Yeah, Wright gets loose. Battles gets on the brakes. Lightly shunts that 83, but for the most part, gets through unscathed. So back to live action. Obviously, you can see we were focusing on Mark Delia for the incident. He did not get so lucky. He'll have to take the wave around here. So if he needed one more lap, possibly he could have been fine, but he came in just a lap early, and he will have to cycle around. So the caution did not help out that number 80 machine. Meanwhile, up front, Nicholas Pressey will take the lead as he elected to take a fuel-only stop. Drew Jua, Jacob Bradley is going to be a driver that works this out quite nicely, as we know he has good short-run pace. Well, now he's got some fresh tires on that number 06, and he's looking to try to go forward here. Other drivers rolling the dice include Matt Verdon. Currently he's going to be firing off in P8. He took, I believe, 2 tires. Mike LaJoy elected to take fuel-only as he came in. And Josh Battles, Connor McDonough also came in and took fuel only. So a few drivers elected to take different strategies, but for the most part inside the top 10, everyone pitted and everyone took 4 tires. For the most part. So as I take that opportunity to clear my throat, we are going to get ready here. We've got the 1 to go. It's going to be Pressey, Jua, Bradley, Featherplace, Hagen, Knowlton, Vordon, Braille, Fleming, Pennell, your top 10. And stage ends on lap 80, so we're at 29 to go. Going to be 28 when we see the green to start. We'll see the green here. Obviously well within a fuel run here, so no drivers will have to pit again. And it will be all green to the end of stage number 2. Well, maybe not all green, but no scheduled pit stops unless drivers want to roll the dice. Control will be on that driver we're focusing on, the number 94, Nicholas Pressey. His pace car pulls off. Green flag is out, and away we go. Now, obviously, that fuel-only strategy didn't work for Daniel Michel. And we have a quick caution way in the back. There's a lot of cars around, and it is a car park. We'll see if we can focus on a car there. There's the 03 of Brian Dixon, the 88 of Ethan Wood. A lot of other cars were around there, too. And I'm going to take a guess someone tried to jump the gun and ended up getting in a major incident here. So, as we see the 88 fire on off, we'll see if we can pinpoint this incident here. So, give me 2 seconds. Yeah, a lot of cars had to avoid incidences, so... Yeah, you can already see 88's already around here, so I don't think it's going to be him. We'll see if we can go with a... Actually, maybe it may be him. So let's rewind here. We'll play it out. We're focusing on the 88 of Ethan Wood here. Oh, a little check up there, but that had enough... Oh, he clipped the grass! And he got in the long necker, clipped Dixon, and the rest of the cars are beginning to file out there. Very odd, but that is on Ethan Wood. So we were the right car to focus on. Take another look. This time we'll focus, I believe, got to see who that's behind. I think that's Colin McDonough. The 39, it is. So we're going to actually ride on board here with the 39 just to watch what exactly happened to Ethan Wood here. And then we'll go back to Ethan Wood and watch what happened to him in a minute. But let's focus on Colin McDonough, and let's see, did the 88 drop in the grass, or did he wheel spin? He got in the grass, and it looks like it also wheel spin, and you can see multiple cars involved there. As you can see there, just the true track blocker it became. This time we'll focus on Lawrence, Cheeseburger Lawrence, as he's going to be one of those drivers in the thick of this, as we'll go with a nice wide shot here. So we'll play it out again, and you can just see Wood loops it, Elliott Longneck gets T-boned, Marshall involved, Kerr involved. Everyone else gets relatively unscathed, and they'll have to take evasive action through the grass. We'll take one more look at this, and we'll ride on board this time inside the cockpit of the 88. I just want to see, did he wheel spin it, or did he just get loose on the grass? So we're going to go inside the cockpit, and we're going to watch his gears here. He's currently in second, so we'll see what exactly happened here. Ooh, yeah, it looks like the grass caught him to kick a little, and he also got some bad wheel spin, so just an odd situation all around, but that will bring out our next caution. So back to live action, looks like it may be day done for Ethan Wood, as he's not even on pit lane. But as we cut around the scenic cameras here, we'll go to Nicholas Pressey, our current race leader. We'll take this opportunity while we're here to update the viewers at home how everything is going. We currently, at the moment, I believe, have 37 cars on the lead lap. Yep, as Muccio will beat the flag here. So 37 cars on the lead lap. Ethan Wood looks like his day is done. Blake Galloway is electing to continue, but multiple laps down as you see him escaping the pit lane. Ross Baxter also still continuing on. He is also multiple down, though, in that 22. As you can see, minor damage on that left front as he misses his box. So as we got the one to go, control will be on Pressey. It'll be Pressey, Jua, Bradley, Featherplace, Hagen, Knowlton, Braille, Verdon, Pinnell, Fleming. Your top 10. Again, 37 on the lead lap, 39 cars still running with Ethan Wood, Pelletier Sharp, Kevin Feemster, and Jonathan Adams out of this race at the moment. Well, we got the second. I'd like to thank everyone again for tuning in here for the 7-Bar Barbecue 240 for ARCS 8 Squared Cup Series, also sponsored by 7-Bar Barbecue. Thank you for tuning in here on ABN Studios. Obviously, 521 of you lovely people have subscribed. Hopefully, if we do enough with all the other series these run on here, you also may be inclined to subscribe as well. And mainly, I also want to say that enough times because I think there's a chance, you know how YouTube loves to light up the subscribe button on there. So subscribe, like, do all those things, and watch the little bar under it light up with flare. So anyway, pace car is going to pull off here. Control will be on that number 94 as we get this show on the road. Green flag is out, and away we go again. Questions still linger on whether or not that 94 can make this fuel-only strategy work here. Does he have the tire capacity? Meanwhile, big battle for second there. Bradley looking to take the lead, and may have had some of my question here as you can see the 94 get a little squirrely. And it's going to be a 2-for-1 special, almost 3-for-1 here, as Bradley, Jua, Hagen, Knowlton, as even Featherplace looking to try to get clear here. I think Featherplace is going to be the big loser, almost shunts into the 94 as the 34 and the 74 all battling for positions. So odd numbers of 4 fighting there, tooth and nail, 3 wide in a very tricky spot. However, everyone goes through. Meanwhile, again, I think if Michelle didn't answer that question, I think Featherplace has a big accident in the back, I believe. Yeah, there is a caution. It's Colin McDonough. No, it's Tommy Withers, Ross Baxter, David Wright, Elthridge George, and Brian Johnson all involved. Obviously, we're trying to quickly chase back there, but as we were moving back, the car kept also sinking. So it looked like I would have to guess Tommy Withers the most torn up here. I'm going to guess he probably went headfirst into that wall there. But obviously, we'll have to see as our Auto Club winner not having a good run of things here in Texas. So as we scroll through here to find the incident in question, so do hold for 1 second. Almost there. Well, first we'll take a look because something happened to Brian Dixon. So we'll start with Brian Dixon as he had to jump the pit lane for something. Did not cause an incident. So we'll watch Brian Dixon first here. This is unrelated to the big incident, but I did see he had to jump the pit lane. So we'll see what exactly happened. Oh, it looks like he lost the car. Almost clipped Ross Baxter. That easily could have been a caution. However, it was single car, so no caution was called, and he was quickly just towed it to make sure no caution was called. And we continue on. Meanwhile, the incident that brought out the yellow flag, that's what we're going to focus on here. Is we're going to focus on Tommy Withers here. And we'll go with a nice, again, eye in the sky camera here. And it looks like it's going to be just up the road there with Dale Markowski. So we're going to rewind a bit. We're going to go to Dale Markowski. As he's, oh, okay, this is even further. This was like half a corner. So we're going to play it out here again. Markowski, Ikavazzi, Tucker, your top 3 on the screen. We're going to play it here. Oh, Ikavazzi got in the corner panel of Markowski. Tucker then got in. Oh, Markowski was the one that went flying upward. And actually, I wonder if he got saved a little bit there as he'll get piled in by Elthridge George. But I do wonder a little bit if he may have been saved there by this Tommy Withers, as he was luckily able to avoid maybe hitting that wall head on. We'll now watch the 77 on board with the 7740 work our way around here. So we'll watch on board. Actually, we're on board with the 24s. He's got a better view of this. So we'll watch 24 Steve Tucker here. Yeah, Ikavazzi gets in the corner panel. Then Steve Tucker gets in. Then you can see that sends Markowski around. There's the Wither incident. And everyone else just fans around for a position. We'll take another look, this time focusing on the 43s. He's going to have the biggest lick here. Actually, we'll rewind a little bit. Obviously, we just kind of stopped it halfway through there, but just want to watch it again at a better point. As, again, replay controls. Yeah, you can actually see what happened there. Markowski, Ikavazzi, and Tucker all kind of hit the same corner. That shot Markowski up to try to save it. Yeah, no. Withers avoided that for the most part. You can see David Wright lost in his own power, and then Baxter and Johnson get into each other. But yeah, honestly, that incident, as we'll take one more look at it again this time, again following Markowski. But that incident in question probably saved Markowski a little bit, as without Withers there, he's going head on to the wall. But Withers causes the car to ping-pong back around. Obviously, we'll see if a toe link's broken anything, but at the very least, it's instead of heavy engine damage, it's a lot of fixable damage. So back to live action. Tommy Withers able to get that car semi-fixed up, and away we continue. Meanwhile, right now in pit lane is Dale Markowski, so he jumped the gun maybe a little bit there. Still heavily torn up enough he had to come back in the pit lane, along with Blake Galloway, as they both try to fix up their cars. So anyway, back up front, Bradley and Drew were able to get clear. They will be on the front row. Hagen, Knowlton will be row 2. Feather Place, Braille, row 3. Fleming, Vordon, row 4. Oberstadt, Pinnell, your first 5 rows. Control will be on Bradley, and Bradley, again, with a great short-run car, he should theoretically be able to pull away here and be a threat to take stage number 2. But obviously, let's not jump the gun as we get back underway again. And look at that launch. Hagen got caught that number 36 napping, and you can see that effect it had. Now Hagen up to second, Drew down to third, as the rest of the cars fight for position. That launch may be the thing that helps Hagen a lot, as his main competitor was that 36. Now he's able to kind of get ahead of him here, and it's easier to control the lanes. We saw Hagen do that successfully well, as he'll take second. Meanwhile, Feather Place and Braille, they're battling hard here for 5th, as we'll cut back to them. So Braille will get clear of the 34. His car is still battling on track here. And we have another yellow, I think it's Davey Haw. Car's fanning out here. We can see the 83 of Hudspeth cutting through. As we'll see if we can find anyone. There's 29 of Mike LaJoy, the 94 of Nicholas Pressey. He's also involved. So heavy lick for a couple cars, and it looks like 12 of Ryan Pinnell. You can see him locked in the far shot. Pressey will jump the pits. Matthew Kent was also involved. So we'll see if we can take a look here. It looks like it was Pressey and Longenecker to start this, but obviously we'll have to watch. And actually, well, it looks like slightly wrong here, as LaJoy and Pinnell look to be the starting point. And actually, I think we jumped the gun again. I think maybe Ikavazzi went a little aggressive again here. So we're going to focus on Ikavazzi here, as he's going to, I wouldn't say he's the starting point, but he's going to be, you'll see in a second. So Ikavazzi comes in. Oh, he side pushes the 29. That causes 29 to get loose there into Pinnell. Pinnell gets stuck. Kent involved. Pressey. At that point, it is Chinese fire drill as cars begin to fan out quickly to try to get around there. It looks like Longenecker then piled in to the 94 of Pressey. So we'll take another look here. Obviously, we know what happened, per se. As we're going to rewind just a bit here, as we're a little bit further up on the incident. So we're going to wind here. Cut to the 29 of LaJoy. As we saw in the first incident, even though Ikavazzi was kind of a little overzealous, did that happen again? Yeah, then again, the hole was there, so Ikavazzi had the right to fill the hole. Then Ryan Pinnell can't just get smashed. Good avoidance by Cheeseburger Lawrence there. But yeah, you can see Longenecker just try to get through and just could not do so. We'll take 2 more looks here. We'll focus on the 47, as he's going to have a great run through this incident. So we're going to look at a good result and a good idea, bad idea situation here, as we're going to focus on the 47 along Michael Lawrence here. As there's the contact, and you see it just ping-pong. Yeah, LaJoy and Pinnell get stuck together on the brakes. 47 takes through the chicanes, and he gets relatively through unscathed. Meanwhile, as for the 9, Longenecker, as he's a little bit further back here, we'll just rewind out here just to show you. He's not going to be so lucky here. There's the incident right there. Cars being the fan in and out. Tries to go low, avoid Pinnell, and just on a crash course with Pressey, and ends up piling into Pressey. So back to live action. Obviously looks like it may be day done for that number 94 machine. As Jacob Bradley there, you can see, officially got the one to go here in the stage. So Bradley, Hagen will be row 1, Jua, Knowlton row 2, Braille, Feather Place row 3, Fleming, Fordon row 4, Oberstadt, Cody Pinnell, your top first 5 rows. Meanwhile, on pit lane at the moment, Edward Marshall, you can see he has officially gone 1 down. Even though his car doesn't look heavily damaged, he's had a long damage clock. Now he officially leaves. Ryan Pinnell, you can see heavily torn up. Nicholas Pressey, as I said, day is officially done for him. Matthew Kent has towed to pit lane as well. He's got a long repair clock along with Michael Joy. So we'll see if we can get a head count here in a second, let cars kind of challenge out here. But at the moment, we have 30 cars on the lead lap. Marshall and Pinnell are both 1 down. Galloway is 3 down. Kent, if he can meet the 10 count, along with Joy, would be on the same lap. So at the moment, we have 30 cars on the lead lap, and when we get to the end of the stage, we'll do a head count to see who else is still running, because it's just a lot of cars, some stop, some going, some in between. But one thing I can confirm for certain is control will be on that Lowe's machine of Jacob Bradley. Green flag is out, and away we go again. That shunt by Knowlton almost sent the 1 into the 06. Meanwhile, though, we keep it pointing the right direction. We keep it green as we head off here. Again, stage ends on lap 80, and look at Jua. Try to get the horns out here, knowing he needs to get around that 1. He will. So Hagen ends up kind of getting a little shunt by Knowlton. Gets the car slightly upset, and now looks like he could be the driver that's in the wrong way here. As Knowlton and Hagen battle for 3rd. Bradley is currently our race leader, and he is under pressure here from the 36 of Drew. As Knowlton gets around, we're watching the battle for the lead. Can the 36 get clear? It's going to be a run down the straight. Connor Knowlton thinking about making it 3 wide. He smells the lead. He wants the lead. He's got to be careful, though. He's got a lot of penalty points. He needs to make sure he doesn't risk an urge of a ban here. But as clean as you like at the moment, Drua will not lead that lap. It will be Bradley. But they're still 3 wide, heading off into 1. Someone is going to have to yield here. The question is who? Still 3 wide. Nolan cuts in the Drew, and that's going to ping pong him around. Drew is around. He's going to be the big loser in that situation, as he'll get it straight. I think Matt Verdon, it was not Matt Verdon, it was one other car in red there that ended up getting stuck on Drew there. So rough situation all around. It was good racing, but it was very aggressive this early on. You could feel it in the bones. You could feel it in the air that it wasn't going to work out. And sadly, it did not. So we'll take a look here. Just pulling up the replay camera here. So obviously we know what happened. We're watching it, but we're going to skip to the eye in the sky camera again here. Rewind it back just a little and watch it half speed. The question is, what exactly happened here? So you can see a little bit of space there. Arcing off the corner. Oh, yeah, Knowlton came up in the Drew. Upset Drew a little bit there. He tried to save it. Hits off Knowlton. Shoots him up the road with the help of Braille. He gets sent sideways into Fleming. Honestly, good getting on the brakes. They're going to get a minor contingency with the wall. But other than that, overall, for the most part, they'll get relatively through. I don't know if unscathed is the word, but obviously you have to see the damage abstained. But at the very least, though, it could have been a lot worse depending on how it was playing out there. We'll take another look again. Obviously, this is at the point of contact. We'll focus on the 2 here, Connor Knowlton. Actually, we'll focus on the we'll focus on the 36. And we'll watch it again from another angle. See if we got, a wider angle may help here. Yeah, just Knowlton came up just a tiny bit, shot in the Drew, and then Drew went around. Again, great avoidance by everyone else to make it through relatively unscathed. And again, that could have been a lot worse depending on how many cars were on that track. We'll take one more look again maybe 2 more looks. We'll take a second look here, this time on the 36 here. See if we can get a better angle. Yeah, that's a good angle. Yeah, there's the contact, upsets the car, shoots up the road. And then one more look. We'll focus on the 60 machine of Patrick Oberstadt as he has a great avoidance of this wreck here. So right on board with the 60 as he's going to get a good view of the chaos unfolding in front of him. Yeah, gets on the brakes, goes down, almost collides in the Wansing, but overall, great avoidance. No incident happens, and everyone, for the most part, keeps the point in the right direction. So back to live action. There's Drew in the 36, obviously coming out of pit lane. We'll see how that car is feeling as he's had a fast 36, but obviously when you get some damage on it, it can definitely hurt the speed in that car. Meanwhile, as we got the one to go, again, stage ends on lap 80. Control will be on Jacob Bradley. It'll be Bradley, Hagen, Knowlton, Verdon, Braille, Featherplace, Fleming, Oberstadt, Wansing, Morse, your top 10. Those drivers drive around here. Again, we'll actually see if we can take a head count here now. 30 cars still running. Tommy Withers, actually 29. Tommy Wither, Elliot Longnecker first car, 1 down. Then you got Battles, Galloway, they're still both going along. Ryan Pinnell is still continuing. So we got 33 still running. 34 with Ross Baxter. So we have 34 cars still running and 29 on the lead lap at this time. So Texas has been a race of nutrition. We're seeing that play out right now. But meanwhile, control will be on that man, the 06 of Jacob Bradley. Green flag is out, and we'll have 9 laps to go if we run to the end of stage number 2. And Connor Knowlton has to be a little bit careful here. You don't want to make enemies. You don't want to get yourself pulled out of that seat. It's all about being aggressive, but oh no, he's just got to be careful. He's had a bit of a rap sheet these last couple weeks. Don't want to dog on a driver too much, but we know Knowlton's fast. He's just got to make sure he keeps that thing in front of him and doesn't end up making mistakes as he gets around Hagen there, as it'll be Bradley, Knowlton, Hagen, your top 3 here. There's Ryan Pinnell. You can see the heavily torn up 12 machine. So he's just trying to stay out of the way here and not cause any problems. Meanwhile, battle for 4. Verdon and Braille, they're going to fight. Meanwhile, I spoke too soon. Featherplace also looking to try to join the fray here as they battle. Featherplace and Braille battle for 5th. Meanwhile, you can see Patrick Oberstadt, Chris Fleming just behind your screen along with Seth Wansing and Connor Morse. They are inside the top 10. Morse being last driver in on stage points at the moment. However, that may be subject to change as Fleming almost got in the quarter panel of Oberstadt, and that's going to be 3 wide down the backstretch. And Fleming's little checkup has cost him dearly as he'll now fall outside the top 10, looking to try to make the bleeding stop. Meanwhile, back up towards the front, Hagen looking to make a move on Knowlton. The 1 car trying to make a move on the 2 car for the 2nd position. And smooth as you like, put Hagen up the 2nd, Knowlton down to 3rd, and Matt Verdon now sitting in 4th position. Looking to maybe capitalize. Battle for the race lead, though. Hagen, Sector 1 was purple. He's got a rocket ship under that tear line of blue Tar Heels machine as he's side by side with the Lowe's 1, beating and banging like it's the final lap. Meanwhile, we're coming to 5 to go in the stage. Bradley will lead that lap, but Hagen not going away here as they head off into 1. Usually drive off the corner, you want to be on that high side, but you can stick that low side for a little bit if you know what you're doing. Hagen going to try to drive it in deep. Could be at a range to clear here. Will get clear, but will leave just a little bit of space to ensure he doesn't chop block the 06. Hagen, at the moment, still side by side. We'll focus on Connor Knowlton here. We'll go on board here as he's got the great shot here. But look at that little checkup. That's going to allow the 06 a chance to drive on the high side here. As Nolan's thinking about making a move. Look at Seth Wanzing trying to make a move on Patrick Oberstadt in the far shot. But we're staying on this battle for the lead. Hagen got a better 3 and 4. He has a 3 and 4 car. And will he clear this time by? He will not. Still side by side. Now we know Hagen's 1 and 2 could be a bit sketchy. Can he? Was it a fluke last time by, or can he keep it planted? Ooh, he's got an all right drive here. So 1 and 2 favors Bradley, 3 and 4 favors Hagen. Knowlton's there sitting in the wings, maybe trying to pick a lane here. I think Hagen's going to get clear here. Look at that drive off. He will get clear. So Hagen back to the race lead. Bradley thinks about going over under, but cannot do it. 2 to go in the stage. Pit lane is officially closed. So any scheduled stops will result in penalties. Meanwhile, Feather Place and Vordon, they're battling for 4th here. Wanzing, you can see him being very aggressive here. He's behind Braille and just behind Oberstadt there. He wants to move forward here. Driver that's on that bubble line at the moment needs a good result. Try to move forward in the playoffs. White flag in the air. Bradley, we saw him try to make a move. He knows 1 and 2 is his best corners. Can he make something happen here? Hagen goes low. Bradley goes high. And that actually will end the stage there. So my kind of anticlimactic there. I did lose a little bit of the count. But John Hagen wins your stage. Bradley, Knowlton, Verdon, Feather Place, Oberstadt, Wanzing, Braille, Pinnell, Morse. Your top 10 is Connor Morse will get the last stage point. As in my lap counter did not update correctly, so I do apologize on that front. But John Hagen will take your stage 1 victory. Oh, sorry, well, I guess he took your stage 1 victory, and he also gets your stage 2 victory as well, as he has swept the stages. So before the drivers hit the pit lane as they catch up to the field, we'll show you again how the drivers ran here in the top 10 of stage number 2, top 14, I should say. So Michelle, Wright, Ricciano, and Tucker end up missing out on stage points. But overall, good run for some of those drivers that really need it to get some stage points in the bag to help them out throughout the season. So pit lane officially open as we also have hit halfway in this race. So 50% of the race done and 50% await these drivers. This pit lane will be a crowded place knowing how tires matter here. I assume for the most part everyone is coming on in here to take something, whether it be 2 or 4. As we've seen, 2 tires can work. Obviously it's going to be 4 tires for now, as you're going to want to fill it up. But some drivers maybe a little bit further back may be inclined to take a chance here and take 2 maybe for track position and try to hope for some quick cautions. So we'll watch the pit road camera. You can see a few cars go around. That's Marshall, Braxter, Galloway, Dixon, and Longenecker, as they're all going to take the wave around here. But as the race-off pit lane concludes, it's going to be Hagen's crew getting the job done with Galloway, Feather Place, Vordon, Oberstadt, Dila with a roll of the dice there, took fuel only, Braille, Pinnell, Morse, and Wanzing your top 10. So John Hagen's crew got the job done, but more importantly, Mark Dila. We saw it not work for Michelle. We saw it not work for sorry, I lost my train of thought there. We saw it not work for Michelle. We saw it not work for Pressy. I'm curious to see if it will work for Dila here, but we'll have to see. So anyways, some cars will get the wave around here. We should, I believe, have 130 on the lead lap here, as Tommy Withers will also... Actually, no, Tommy Withers will be 1 down. Yeah, no. Tommy Withers is now 1 down. Elliot Longenecker's back on the lead lap. No, I'm sorry, my count's wrong here. Longenecker and Withers on the lead lap. So we'll have 30 cars on the lead lap here, as Longenecker got the wave around there. Withers also back on the lead lap. Battles will be 2 down along with Galloway. They will be fighting it out for the lucky dog. But up front, it will be Hagen, Bradley, Verdon, Featherplace, Dila, Oberstadt, Braille, Pinnell, Morse, Wanzing. Your top 10. Again, for those just tuning in as we've gotten the halfway here, this is the 7-Bar Barbecue 240 at Texas Motor Speedway for the A² Cup Series here on this Sunday night on ABN Studios. My name is Kevin Young, a little bit horsey sounding, but no rain, no shine. I will be here to provide you the action as we continue on. Overall, though, we race here always on Sunday, so if you are enjoying what you see, make sure you come back next week as we will be racing Martinsville, as that will be an exciting race indeed. So anyway, control will be on that number 1 of John Hagen, trying to go for 3 wins. Meanwhile, Bradley has got a podium last week, looking now in the second race to try to get a win. Verdon, Featherplace, obviously Verdon looking for his first win. Featherplace looking for his first win in a while. And then you got Oberstadt and Dila in the next row. So green flag is out, and away we go for the final stage. Who will be standing at the end of 80 more laps? Oh, big incident there. 28. Connor Morris gets through the minor side there. And we actually stayed green, more importantly. Now it will be caution. How to find the car on the bottom box. It was, I believe, Cody Pinnell. Yeah, it was Cody Pinnell. Obviously rocking a different number than what it says on my screen here. So that's what threw me off. But obviously 28 hit that wall a ton. And you can see the effects that's had. I think other cars also got involved as well. So folks on the replay there's obviously the incident question with Cody. So we'll play it out here, and it's really just going to be quite simple what happened. Pinnell just goes a little too hard in the corner, hits the wall a ton. I think Seth followed him off the cliff. Him and Morse go low. But then you can see a little bit further back, David Wright got in a little incident as well. So obviously they've gotten it straightforward and sorted. This is what brought out the caution. So they both kept in the right direction. iRacing did not deem that a caution. They did the stewards. This is what's going to be the caution here with Connor. Oh, Connor Knowlton. Was he over-aggressive again, or was it unrelated? Oh, Knowlton and Wright collide. Knowlton goes up. Still okay for the most part. Oh, Wright got into the corner panel of Hudspeth, and that both got him sent around here. And then Brian Johnson nowhere to go as he'll hit the inside wall. I think Josh Battles piles in too for some reason. Very odd incident, I guess you can say. 2 separate incidents happening there. We'll take another look. This time we'll focus on Brian Johnson, as he obviously was a little bit further back in this incident. So there's the contact between Hudspeth and Wright. Then you can also see Long and Necker and Baxter getting involved. And then nowhere to go for Battles. We'll take another look here as obviously a third incident broke out here, even further back. So we're focusing on the 9 along and Necker. Oh, check-up situation. Both go in the George. Just odd situation all around, and that may end Ross Baxter's day as the tow link seems to be broken. But a handful of cars back here get some damage, and that will bring out the next caution of the night. As you can see, Cody Pinnell currently sitting on pit lane. But back up front, Hagen, Bradley will be first 1-2 again, as we didn't really truly get anywhere, so we'll re-rack them. Try it again here. So we officially got the 1 to go that time by. Again, just make sure I'm clearing out my sinuses there, so that's why we were silent for a couple seconds there. Just to make sure everything's cleared out there. Anyway, control will be on John Hagen, as he will have the control. Bradley will be following him behind. Verdon, Featherplace, Overstat, Dila, Murciano, Braille, Michelle, Colin McDonough, your top 10. As that's how they will fire off. Now the question remains again is obviously short run here. If we do get a long green flag run, obviously fuel concerns will come into play and strategies will play as well. So we'll have to see exactly how this all goes and how this all plays. But right now, we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves because we do still have a long run to go here before we even see final pit stops. But control will be on the man we're following right now, the two-time winner of the year, John Hagen. He will have control, and he will lead him to the flag here. Green flag is out, and away we go. Good launch there by Verdon. Bradley got caught napping a little bit as that 00 looking to try to make a move here for the lead. Oh, look at that again. Got to be careful. Drivers seem to be over-pushing into this corner here, and it seems to be having some ill effects. We almost saw that 06 machine smack that wall like saw Cody Pennell hit it. Ooh, a little bit further back, I'm seeing some argy-barginess. So we're going to cut to there because I saw two cars almost come to blows here. I think whatever it was, it looks like it has settled itself out as everyone's got it pointing in the right direction. So we are going to, we'll keep an eye on this for a second, but we'll jump back up to the lead in just a second here. As we'll now cut back as Connor, Brandon Featherplace, and Jacob Bradley, both back-to-back Bs, as they will be fighting each other out here for third. Hey, Michelle, who bit a bad strategy. He is trying to get up for the field as well. Was one of my drivers to keep an eye out for, as he, at the moment, is currently sitting in 6th position. The fastest lap for Drew Jua. So Drew Jua has clearly shown that car is not heavily damaged enough, as he's currently going to fire off in currently 12th. So if he can get back up through the field here, he could be a driver to keep an eye out for, so the speed has not been hit out of that number 36. But up front, it's still the John Hagen show. As Bradley, Featherplace, Michelle, and Overstat all under a blanket here for third. Featherplace has been one of those drivers here that has been kind of sneaky fast. He's been constantly in that top 5, but we haven't really seen him get that extra speed he needs to jump forward to the lead. Obviously, we'll see if he can get it here now. Maybe playing a little possum, but does make you think. Dan Michelle thinking about making that third line work. However, he thinks better of it, and will tuck back in line. Still side by side for third. Now they're going to run into the pick. That is Matt Verdon here. I'll actually ride on board here with Patrick Oberstedt, as he's got a pretty good seat in the house. Actually, Ryan Machia will follow on instead, as he's got a better seat. As he sits currently sitting inside 7th. Sits 2 by 2 ahead of him. And in these situations, there's really nothing you can do. Track's not wide enough to really make a third lane viable for passing. And you just got to wait for a battle to finish up like you just saw there with the 34 clearing the 06. And then you can see now with the 06 going just a bit slow. That's going to check up the move. Going to cause the 60 to fall just a little bit ahead there. And that checkup is going to cause a major stack up as cars battle on here. While as Bradley and Michelle fight onward here. Feather place for Don. Feather place looking to clear. He will. So put Feather place now up to second. Meanwhile, for Don sitting in third, Michelle side by side with Bradley there. We're trying to make that car wide. 3 wide here. 3 wide for third and 3 wide for 6 or 7. 4 wide almost back there. As it is just 3 by 3. Feather place, okay. Oberstadt almost got in the Murciano. Now we're watching this battle here just inside the top 10. Nolan, Oberstadt, Murciano there. We got Tucker and Feather place just behind. Still hitting hard here. No one giving anyone an inch. Meanwhile, battle for third. We're going to cut that in a second. We're going to let this cycle out here for a second. Now we're going to cut back up to Bradley and Michelle. They're fighting hard for third. Feather place isn't able to check out a little. He's got clear of this top 2 breakaway here. The question is, who will join that breakaway next? Oh, look at that. Galloway could not hold the inside line there. He's going to get passed by Drew Jua. And Jua, remember, we're saying keep an eye on him. He's gotten that car fixed up, and he's now back inside the top 5. As Vordon sitting right there as well, trying to get back in the top 5 as well, as he's going to try to make a move on Bradley. We know that 36 is fast. He's spent the whole second stage clawing his way back up to the top 5. And now he's got a chance to try to capitalize here. So as we hit lap 100, John Hagan will lead the way with Brandon Featherplace in second, Daniel Michelle in third as they'll catch the lap down car of Josh Battles. Then it will be Drew Jua, Jacob Bradley, Connor Nolan, Patrick Oberstadt, Matt Vordon, Riley Murcio, Steve Tucker, your top 10 as we see the battle for 10th. Here's Vordon. Got a little checked up. Actually, that's not Vordon. It was actually Vordon as they move around battles. Angles were switching there. Lap cars are throwing you off as Vordon will keep 7th. Oberstadt will go to 8th. And Tucker and Murciano will fight for a top 10 here with Edward Marshall theoretically sitting in 11th right there in that 16 Celsius machine. Again, it was a car that was a lap down and had to take the wave around about the end of stage number 2. Now we know as we watch this battle for 10th here, green flag pit stops are on the horizon here. We have just over, give or take, under, I guess you can say, 60 laps to go. Fuel tank seems to be about 30-ish laps, 35 laps. So we'll have to see how the fuel works and how these cars like to stretch it. Obviously, you want to try to make it on one more stop if you can. If you come in now, it would be unlikely that you can make it forward. To answer the viewer's question, Holmes, I did see it in the chat, how many cautions. Sadly, we do not have a tracker for cautions directly, so I cannot accurately give you that number, but I believe we are at least around 8 or 9 if my rough count is at least semi-accurate. So you had a couple caution, a heavy caution stage 2 and a light caution stage 1. So as these drivers still battle for just inside the top 10, Murciano currently its car in 10th, battle for 8th. As you can see in the wide shots, nothing really of note happening in the top 7 upward, as they all pretty much are single file at the moment. Bit of a calm before the storm incident. We'll take this opportunity now to show you. Here is John Hagan. He currently sits there. Bradley Featherplace has caught him and will use this opportunity to show you the up the speed graphic, presented by 7 Bar Barbecue. As you can see, is 0.24 behind interval-wise. Then Daniel Michelle behind Hagan is about a second, as now he's getting passed here or attacked by Drew Jua, as they are about the same distance away. So we will take this off the screen here as we watch the battle for third, as Michelle is looking poised to fall down the 4th here. So that 36 is fast. It's one of the few drivers you can see here on laps led. He's led 7 laps. One of the few drivers to lead some laps here today. So we'll see if he can get back to the lead. He's got a little bit of a gap to make up, but he knows he's got a rocket ship under that 36 if he can get caught back up here. We'll cut back to the lead again. Hagen, Feather Place. We know we had, if you remember back, they had their battle at Atlanta about a couple weeks ago. They had a big old battle at Atlanta with Hagen winning that battle. But maybe there's some information that Feather Place took away from that battle to see what he can do here. Obviously, with a green flag pit stop on the horizon, the question is, will he try to undercut that number 1? Will he try to overcut? What is in the cards of that 34? And same thing for the 36 as well. Right now at the moment, as we use the up the speed graphic here, he's gotten around that battle as we watch Knowlton and Michelle and all of them fight here just inside the top 5. So we'll hold that interval check in just a second here. As a battle on here, now that's pretty much gotten settled out, we'll go back to the original question and we'll check the intervals. Up the speed is what we want. There we go. It's now 2 seconds, so it has grown. And we'll see if this actually works here. Yeah, that's still sadly busted. So I can't use the lap interval screen like I want to. But at the very least, we can see the gap is about 2.3, so it is growing. We have a caution, so everything has been muted and everything has been neutralized, as we need to see what exactly happened. Maybe Edward Marshall, he has come down pit lane, so it's not him. Same thing that with Longenecker. So we'll take a look here, see what exactly caused it. Right now, I will admit I'm a little bit on the stump side. Because obviously there's no third stage, so just jumping through angles here and maybe see if we can find something. Let's play it out a little here. I got nothing of note here. Nothing at Braille, nothing of Oberstadt. Josh Battles came down pit lane, but same thing with Marshall. I'll be honest, I have no clue what caused this incident here, as I'm not seeing anything of note in the information box. Actually, it looks like as we see cars pitting in here, I think we've got a tip here that it looks like we'll go back again. I think it was the 49 at Connor Morse. So we'll see if we can figure this out. Yep, there's Connor Morse mowing through the grass. So that's the incident in question. Now the question is, what happened? So Morse just lost it off of 4. Went through the grass. Still going through the grass. Coming up through the traffic. It loops. He locks it down. Yeah, I guess that's going to be our incident here. So overall, that will be the caution of the next caution of the night. Obviously, iRacing deemed that a caution is coming up the road, and that will deem an incident. Meanwhile, drivers came in, drivers pit, and we have something of note. Focus on that 36. His virtual crew got the job done. As we will show you real fast the race off pit lane, as obviously the 34 will come off second here. As you can see the race off pit lane here. All taking 4 tires, all coming out, and that 36's crew will get the job done. He will win it off. Slow exit by Hagen. As Feather Place will get second, Bradley will get third, Hagen will get fourth. So the top 4 strongest runners here tonight all fire off inside the top 4, and they are going to fight a treat. Edward Marshall got the same bug that Mark Dila got caught the wrong time at a caution. He'll have to take wave around. However, he will also be back on the lead lap, giving us 31 cars on lead lap when the wave around cycles through. Ryan Pinnell, next car, 1 down. However, he is multiple laps down, over 9, as he continues on. So it is going to be Drew, Feather Place, Hagen, Bradley, Michelle, Knowlton, Tucker, Verdon, Oberstadt, Murciano, your top 10 here. I see the chat firing off here. Some talking about how many cautions were, reminiscing about old races, some rooting for loved ones, family members, Thank to everyone interacting in the chat. We do keep an eye on it throughout the stream, so do fire away in the chat. Show your support for the driver you care about, or if you have any offhanded comments, go ahead, as we do like to see that information pop through our chats. However, control will be on that number 36. Obviously missed the show last week, being the slowest on the road course. Taking this opportunity and running with it. Technically, I guess it is his first start of the year, even though first official start he did not qualify for the other one. So would be a very interesting tidbit of information if he could find victory here. But anyway, control will be on that number 36. As we have laps ticking down here, and away we go. Good launch there by the 36. As we have 49 laps to go here, possibly one more green flag pit stop looming, or at the very least to get fresh tires, depending on how it cycles. Cars begin to fan out there, battle for second. Hagan and Bradley. You also saw some overzealousness further back. Feather Place, the big loser, just did not get going there, and he'll end up losing 2 spots for his troubles. Bradley, Noah has a great short-run car. Hagan's car comes to life longer in a run. And this 36 has finally gotten back and has reclimbed the mountaintop as he's currently sitting in the lead. So still keep an eye on this battle for second. Seeing some other action throughout the course of the field here we're keeping an eye on. As this has major implications. However, these two were dueling for the end of stage number 2 about 40 laps ago. And now they're battling for second here for the right to challenge Drew for the lead. Top 10 pretty much single file, and Hagan is going to jump back in line here, not liking his odds, will live to fight another day. So it's the number 36 of Drew, then it's Bradley, Hagan, Feather Place, Nolt in your top 5. As we see Steve Tucker and Matt Verdon fighting for 8th. Don't want to jinx it, but I am keeping an eye on one car inside the top 10 right now who's having a great run from depending on where they qualified. You'll see him on the screen right now in a blue machine, but that's all I'm going to say is I do not want to raft the gods of a commentator's curse and jinx him from a good run. He's running as he'll just accidentally door the 0-0 there a little bit, but keep it going. Meanwhile, for second, we saw it on the wide shot. John Hagan bullies, I would say bullies a little bit mean, but he gets his way around Jacob Bradley, use that high side. Hagan to the second position, Bradley down the third. 45 laps to go here. Looks like Feather Place is getting a little bit pokey as well. He wants to stay in third position here. Top 7 have broken away from 8th here at the very least right now. There's a big gap between Tucker and Murciano. Speaking of, Steve Tucker looking to make a move on that. Actually, we'll go back there. Wanzing, big move there. 3 wide, clears Fleming and Oberstadt, put him up to 10th. But back to what I was going to say is Michelle and Tucker. Tucker getting on that low groove, trying to make something happen here. Feather Place pops in the 4th, pops out of 4th. Focusing on this battle, it's one of the tighter battles we have at the moment on the track. We do have some other ones further shot, but we're staying on this one for the moment, as it's a battle for 7th. Oh, Tucker almost got in the Nolan. That's going to check up that 24 just enough. And that's going to cause enough for Michelle to run back. Meanwhile, 74, Braille thinking of making it 3 wide here. Thinks better of it, just can't get close enough. But Oberstadt and Fleming are fighting hard here in position number 12. Meanwhile, back up, we see that battle. We saw it on the side shot. Feather Place has finally gotten the inside of Bradley. Meanwhile, Hagen has reeled back in Drew. And Nolan almost accidentally gave the hook. The Feather Place there was thinking about going low, thought better of it, knowing that 34 was just there. Puff of smoke, unrelated to our leader, was a car coming down pit lane. It was Ryan Pinnell's heavily damaged machine. Takes opportunity while we watch this battle. We'll ride on board with the 25 of Danny Michelle. He's got a great seat in this house here. Feather Place got clear. Now, oh, look at that little hip check there. Dogs are out here. And it's 3 wide with Murciano and Tucker's. Michelle is in the middle. They all keep it pointing in the right direction. Don't want to hold on for this for too long. There's still 3 wide. Murciano, little doored. Still not going away. Tucker's going to lift out of this. At least for the moment. Now he's back in. They've been 3 wide for a whole lap. But I think it's finally coming to a close. Tucker's perseverance will pay off. He backed out, got back in it, and win. So back up towards the front. We watch this battle here play out. Drua, Hagen, side by side here. Hagen wants the lead. Feather Place, Knowlton side by side. What can Hagen do here? He's hanging on that low side right now. Can he get the drive off he needs? Oh, Hagen can't. Checks back in line. Stays in second. Knowlton challenging Feather Place for third. We're staying here right now. You did see, I think, Braille trying to make a move a little bit further back, but right now this is just getting good here up front. The Eaton's getting good as the battle for third rages on between Knowlton and Feather Place. Tucker, a name we haven't said much about tonight as well, on the inside of Bradley. He'll tuck back in line. Again, top 8 have broken away. Seth Lansing currently leads the second trains. We'll cut to him for a second. Ahead of Vordon, Oberstadt, and Fleming. 9th on back in the second pack. Top 8 in the first pack. 35 laps to go. Drew still leading the way. Hagen in second. Then it's Knowlton and Feather Place fighting for third. And we have a caution that will neutralize that. Minute I look at the chat, minute a caution comes out. So we'll see what exactly caused that. Looks like it was Connor Morse was the issue here again. As you can see him right there. Doesn't look heavily damaged, but we'll see what exactly caused it. And looks like him and James Kerr came to contact. Along with Briley Wright. So we're going to take it here, go with the chopper camera, and then cut the Briley Wright. Side by side with Marshall Harris. It just goes up the groove a little bit. Kerr's there. Net code. That shoots Kerr into Morse. And then Morse comes up the road. Door sides the outside wall. Almost gets hit by Brian Johnson there. But overall, everyone else gets through relatively unscathed. We'll take a second look. Yeah, that one actually gives us, yeah. And we'll take a second look here. This time we'll focus on Connor Morse through this incident. So there you can see right there, just a little net code. Morse just happened to be on the corner panel. Big lift of air there by Kerr. Kerr gets through relatively unscathed. Same thing with Wright. Morse ends up being the big loser in this situation as he doors that outside wall. But again, could be a lot worse. One quick look as well. We'll take one more look. We'll ride aboard with 72, Brian Johnson. As you can see, there's the puff of smoke. Johnson on the brakes, just going to try to cut through here. Morse right there, has to cut low. Luckily, he doesn't hit anything, and he will mow the grass and continue on. But we're going to quickly get back. Here's pit lane is a crowded place. Everyone is in, and we're going to watch pit lane. Here's far the right pit lane camera here. We're going to see who wins the race off pit lane. This could be important. Look at that. Move change. Big move by Bradley. He's going to try a different strategy. Same thing with Seth Wanzig, Patrick Oberstadt, Matt Verdon, and the rest. as they will all come back in here and try to make something happen. So Steve Tucker. So we'll reset the table here as we saw a lot of different strategies play out there. Steve Tucker did not pit. He stayed out completely. Jacob Bradley, Seth Wanzing, Patrick Oberstadt, Matt Verdon, Jeremy Braille all stayed out. And actually, they all came in, but they all topped off. John Hagan, Connor Knowlton, Brandon Featherplace, Daniel Michelle, that next group before you see on your screen, they elected to come in, take 4 tires. Davey Hawk came in, took fuel only. Riccio took 4. Wright and Marshall took 2. Fleming, Ikavazzi, Dila, Withers took 4 as well. So a mixed bag of strategies. And again, we saw, it's a weird call because we saw what happened to so many drivers that tried fuel only, what happened in a lap to 2 laps. Obviously, the last pit stop was not that long away in comparison to this. For reference point, they came in at lap 109. So that's give or take about 18 laps on their sets of tires right now. And if another quick caution were to come out, or a caution were to come out, they could maybe make this a net gain, put fresh tires on, have an extra set. I feel like you got to roll the dice if you're a little bit further back, but I don't know if I like this call because you're going to be at enough of a tire differential that I don't know if it would be helpful. I would even consider taking 2. 2 would at least maybe work, but again, Wanzing's a 2-time champion. Oberstadt's won countless times in other machinery. Braille's a 1-time champion, has won this season. Verdon's got experience behind the wheel. Jacob Bradley's been strong all night. Steve Tucker has gotten a podium this year along with Bradley. So they do have more experience than I have. And we'll see how it all plays out. But I'm not sure if I like this call that this top 6-7 has made. I think it's going to play in the hands of Knowlton and Hagan here. But time will tell. Pace car is going to pull on off for what could be the final time tonight. Control will be on the number 24 of Steve Tucker. Green flag is out, and away we go. And you can already see those old tires begin to play a factor there as a couple cars had to get shoved up to get going up through the gears there. Bradley and Wanzing side by side for second. Wanzing will tuck in line and get the third. Oh, Wanzing going to try to cover off Hagan here. Bold move, as you can already see that advantage on those tires working for Hagan. So he's already up the 4th position. Hagan going to try to rip it around the high side. Oh, almost some chaos there a little bit further back with Oberstadt, Featherplace, and Nolan. It is a parade here in the middle. 3 wide, Murciano, Featherplace, and Michelle. As we're focusing on this right now, 3 wide doesn't work out the greatest. Featherplace beginning to fall back. Fleming into the wall hard. He will hit it a ton there in his machine, but he'll keep his foot in it. And we stay green, but it's going to cost him a couple spots along with Featherplace. They buried in traffic. Meanwhile, while we were watching that battle, John Hagan has caught his way up to the lead of this race, and he's gotten around Steve Tucker. Hagan to the point with 29 laps to go. And this is what I feared. Those 4 tires were a lot fresher than those in turn, and you can see the effects that's had. Hagan, clean track and smooth sailing. Cutting a little bit further back, you see Michelle, Murciano, they're fighting here. Connor Knowlton has gotten around for 5th, as he's also looking poised to make some moves here. Knowlton going to go low side on Wanzing. And he'll get the job done, so put Wanzing down to 6, and now, ooh, cut in front of the Murciano. And that's going to leave Wanzing under attack here. 2 spots lost, make it a couple more. Marshall in the wall, right in for Vaughn. We stayed green, still green. There's obviously right there, Marshall Harris. And it looks like Edward Marshall quickly jumped the pit lane. Actually, no, Marshall's still there. And he's going to lose a couple spots. You see him right now down to 14th. Verdon now fell down to 17th. And they're now both outside the top 20. 26, 25 laps to go. And right now, Connor Knowlton looks to be the main threat. Going to be the John Hagen here. Meanwhile, 3 wide. Further back, going to cut to that. Feather Place, Ikavazzi, Fleming, Wanzing. Wanzing just trying to make those old tires work. Gets a little hippie check, but he keeps it pointing the right direction. Aggressive, maybe a lip by Feather Place, but Feather Place has to get going here. He's got those fresh tires. He needs to stay in touching distance with the other cars on those 4 tires. As Wanzing begins to drop back. Meanwhile, back forward. Hagen, Knowlton, Michelle, Murciano, Tucker, your top 5. Hagen at the moment has a 3/10 lead over Knowlton. In this top 5, they all came in and pitted. Well, top 4 came in and pitted at lap 127. Steve Tucker came in at 109. And you can see, yeah, Steve Tucker beginning to lose touch. So it's a 4-car breakaway at this moment. Murciano trying to make a move around Michelle. Spiel Racing Design car trying to go forward here. 23 laps to go. Focus on this battle for 3rd, as this has implications for the last podium spot. As he still watches this battle. Meanwhile, we'll cut back here. Fleming, even though he got that nice wall smack up to 4th. Everyone else pretty much got it straight filed. And we can see right here, Murciano still trying to stand that corner panel. Looks like he almost got him a little loose. They're still side by side. Actually try a new angle here. We'll ride on board here with Connor Knowlton. As we'll watch his rear gearbox camera here, as he's got a good seat in the reverse direction. Neither car still going away at the moment with 22 laps to go. Oh, Murciano still not trying to go away, and I think Michelle may be getting a little bit tired of getting doored a little bit off these corners. Second time on my count that's happened on this side-by-side run. It could be up to 3. And now with Feather Place trying to drive down here to get in that top 3, they're going to have to settle this quick. $20 laps to go. Murciano, Michelle still battling for 3rd. Feather Place has joined the fray. They're still battling tooth and nail here. And this is not what, again, if you're a Feather Place fan, you do not want to see this. This, again, gap is beginning to grow. And I think Feather Place sees this. He's going to be aggressive on that low side. Fleming, again, Michelle gets contact again by Murciano, and look at that move. Feather Place, as clean, maybe clean as you want, but at the very least, aggressive, and he gets it done. Murciano will also gain it, so Michelle will be the big loser here, as he'll lose 2 spots now under pressure from Chris Fleming. 18 laps to go. We're still staying on this battle here. It's Fleming, Michelle, Ikavazzi we're watching on our screen. Meanwhile, Drew Jua, who had a very slow stop on pit lane, has now gotten back to the top 9 here. Oh, look at that. Fleming got on the corner pad of Michelle, still trying to save it. Still trying to save it. Clyde's in the withers, and that will be a caution, or at least should be a caution. No caution yet. Big incident there. Still no caution. Still no caution, and there's the caution finally, as that caution came out way too late. After the contact between Withers and that, it really should have been a caution. Obviously, I think iRacing's on the control here, but that was just a problem waiting to happen there. as Withers now have the tow. Good recovery job by Withers, and it looks like his day will be done. So we'll take a look here to see what exactly happened. Obviously, we saw a little bit of what happened, but we're going to watch it again real fast. So you see Michelle just try to back down, save it, back down, try to save it. And you can just see after the little contact there by Fleming. There's the contact. Shoots up the road, saves it, trying to save it, saves it, trying to save it. At this point, maybe better to lock it down. There's the contact by Withers. Then you can see the 25 stop there, trying to lock it down. And then know for Ross Baxter goes. He piles in. That's the incident. We're going to go through this quickly here just to keep an eye on live action, just in case any pit stops occur. So we're going to focus on Tommy Withers this time by, as you can just see from his perspective. There's the save, trying to save it. There's the save, trying to save it. And just nowhere to go, and that basically takes the hood pins off of his machine. And knowing it's just too damaged, just comes in and tows it, just to avoid taking any more damage. We'll take one more look. This time is actually, got a big... Was going to say we should have looked that through one more time there. Hold on. We'll actually see real fast what happened to Withers there at the end. And then we'll cut back to the last angle I want to check. He comes up the road here. Who does he get hit by? Oh, 42 with David Wright piles in. Okay. And we'll take one more look. This time on Ross Baxter. Yeah, was just trying to save it, trying to find a way around. He ends up piling into the back of the 25 and kills the engine. So back to live action. It looks like it's probably day done for the 43 at Tommy Withers. We'll see as well if Manchell, he's on pit lane 2 with a lengthy repair clock, as long others. So we will set the tone here. 15 laps to go. Anyone that stayed out under the last caution came in. Jacob Bradley is the first notable name to come in. He'll be firing off P12. He took 4 tires on that stop. Kerr, Oberstadt, Wanzing, Galloway, Braille, Pinnell, Marshall, George, Morris, Hawk, Dila also came in and took 4 tires. That's 23rd to 12th. Hagen, Nolan, Feather Place, Murciano, Fleming, Ikavazzi, Drew Jua, Briley Wright, Michael Lawrence, Colin McDonough, Brian Johnson all stayed out. They're your top 11. Now, we saw a deficit of a similar distance work into the favor of John Hagen. We saw the fall-off be aggressive and over the run of basically, it was 35 when we took the flag. And they got, within 20 laps, even less, Hagen got around. And at the same point, Nolan and Feather Place got around with about 20-ish to go, along with some others. So it was slightly around the same amount of laps we will fire off on here for those drivers with 4 tires to get through. Now, obviously, it's a little bit bigger of a deficit than they had to go through, but I still think it's noteworthy to keep an eye on Jacob Bradley, along with Oberstadt, Kerr, Galloway, and Wanzing, as they all have 4 fresh tires on their machines. However, they'll have to get through in 13 green flag laps to try to catch Hagen, Nolan, Feather Place, Murciano, Fleming, Ikavazzi. Hagen has been the dominant car all night, but he's been challenged by Nolan, he's been challenged by Feather Place, and has been challenged by Drew Jua. Can anyone bring the thunder to John Hagen? If any of those 3 drivers I listed find victory, it would be their first win on the year. For 2 of them, their first win in A-squared, period. Pace car is going to pull on off. It's going to be the control of John Hagen. Green flag is out, and away we go for what could be the final time here tonight. Can the drivers with 4 fresh tires get up for the field quickly? Meanwhile, what can the drivers do here leading the way? Good launch by Hagen and Knowlton. They are clear at the moment. Battle for 3rd. Murciano gets in the Feather Place. Murciano saving it, still saving it. He will save it. We stay green, which is more importantly good for the cars with 4 tires. That will put Feather Place up to 3rd, Drew Jua to 4th. Meanwhile, don't look now. Jacob Bradley currently sitting in 8th. He's got those 4 fresh tires with 12 laps. We'll see what he can do in that 06. as he's going to try to carve his way for the field here. Look at that aggressive lunge. Knows he needs to be on the hunt and has to be aggressive. Double move there. Gets around right and should theoretically get around Ikavazzi. Put Bradley up to 6. 11 laps to go. If he can get some clean track, it could be night-night for Hagan and Knowlton. We'll keep an eye on this for a moment. Meanwhile, up front, it's still the John Hagan show with Knowlton in second here. Nolan is within touching distance. Galloway is riding back there, but Bradley makes a move on Fleming. Put Bradley up to 5th. And this is where I think that strategy worked out, at least to some degree. I still don't know if it was the right call for some, but Galloway was able to take that extra track position and save a set of tires, which he can use here on this last run. We'll see if the gamble plays off. Right now, Galloway, we're watching him because he is the car of interest. He's got the freshest tires and the cleanest track at the moment. He is now up to 4th. It is still Hagan, Nolan 1-2. Galloway just carving through the field on those fresh tires. Going to try to go low side on that 34 machine. And he will successfully do it. So put Galloway up to 30. He's got 9 laps to chase down 2 cars. And as you can see by this graphic, he is 7/10 away. That is plenty doable for that 06 machine of Jacob Bradley. Up front, it's still John Hagan and Connor Knowlton 1-2. For note of principle as well, the rest of the 4-tire runners at the moment are currently stuck back in 10th and further back. Bradley's the only one inside the top 10 thoroughly. But the thing that kind of stinks is the further you go up to the field, the harder it can be to make moves. Bradley on Connor Knowlton. We know Bradley had his war with Hagan at the end of stage 2. Will they have a chance to duke it out again? Look at that. Nolan on the corner panel of Bradley. Very odd situation. Nolan still trying to save it loose. And he will save it. Almost gets in the feather place. Feather places the wall. Nolan still trying to save it. He will. No caution will be called, but a very odd situation around. We're cutting back up to the lead here. Maybe a bit over-aggressive by Bradley. Didn't have the best angle of it, but that is going to be up for race control to decide. We'll ride on board here with Bradley, and we're going to give you the driver data as well here just to see. Trying to get that toe, get that draft. We're going to watch Bradley come into this corner here. Oh, there is a caution. That's going to neutralize things. And we'll see who exactly it was for. Looks like it was Connor Knowlton. Looks like whatever happened in that previous incident has finally came to roost, and it has affected him here, as that whole toe link is broken. So what we're going to do here is we see Knowlton stopped on the track. As you can see, this is probably where the incident happened. We're going to rewind here. We're going to go back to the incident first with him and Galloway. I'm sorry, Jacob Bradley. Again, the O numbers are throwing me off. So we're going to watch this here just to see what exactly happened. We're going to watch it on board with the driver of that 05 and 06 in Jacob Bradley. Then we'll go back to the wreck. So obviously one Spiel Racing designed car trying to hold up Bradley to give Hagan a chance here. So this is the incident question that's maybe started these things. There's the bump. Ugh. I am not so sure. It looked like there really wasn't a line. There was a slight opening. And then you can see the effects there. It continued to playing on. Meanwhile, we'll jump half a lap later here. As now we'll jump to Connor Knowlton again. So you can see Knowlton gets swallowed by the pack here. We're just going to let it play out in real time. See Knowlton gets swallowed by the pack here. Okay, this is a replay of what happened. Again, we don't usually do that this way, but I just figured seeing the whole lap may play a factor. Braille going through, clips the 2 goes into Fleming, and at that point, it was trying to skate around quickly as you can, and nowhere for the 21 machine to go. He piles in, and that brings out, basically ends Connor Knowlton's night. We'll take another look here again, this time from the chopper camera, and watch it a little bit slower. Just to see, again, what happened. It's just the tire differential. Because these cars are on faster tires. Knowlton's trying to hang on old tires and now slightly overheated. And you can see right there's the contact. It shunts Knowlton up the road into Fleming. And just nowhere for either driver to go. And then big lick there by the 21. We'll take one more look because we want to get back, make sure we don't miss anything. We'll ride aboard here with the 21 of Hawk as he has an interesting look at this too. There's the contact. There's the incident question. And just, yeah, nowhere to go for Hawk as he's coming down the track and just piles in. Maybe could have the brakes a little earlier, but tomato, tomato at this point. So anyway, probably day done for Connor Knowlton as that toe link was broken. As now we will have one lap to go before we see the green. We are not in green-white checker range yet, so we are not triggering an official green-white checkered. We'll have unofficially a green-white checkered, I should suppose, here. But this is interesting because it re-bunches the field. We know how much of an advantage Bradley has. Is probably what John Hagen did not want to see was this caution. However, if he can get himself a good restart, he may be able to hang on. Meanwhile, you got Drew fed a place in row 2, both on the came in at 127. Oberstadt, the next highest on those 4 fresh tires. He could eat good here along with Seth Wanzing, who is also on those fresher 4 tires. It's only 2 laps, but if cautions breed cautions, it could be in a shot to try to maybe take out some podium spots here. But all eyes will be on this front 2 battle between Bradley and Hagen. Obviously, Racer will have an instant look at that incident. You could say maybe a bit over-aggressive with the 06, but obviously that's why I'm not in a race control to decide. That's up for the control room. I'm just here to call the action. And what a race it's been, and we'll see if it can provide a great finish like the day has been. Control will be on John Hagen here as we see the action. Green flag is out, and away we go. Bad launch there by Bradley. Not what you need. Drua will get ahead here. Hagen, Drew, Bradley, Feather Place will fire off 1, 2, 3, 4 into corner 1. Again, not what the 06 needed. He'll be low side. You can see that advantage of the tires work. He's already clear for second. He's going to have a 1 lap and a few quarters to try to catch that number 1 machine. Meanwhile, Braille's on the back of Feather Place, but that will not matter much. White flag in the air. 1 lap to go. Can Bradley have anything? It's going to have to be through 3 and 4, which is the spot that favors John Hagen. He has the tire advantage. You can see Hagen trying to break the toe. High, low, going low to block off. He gets in the quarter pedal. 06 is there. Going to move up the track just slightly. It's going to be a photo finish coming to the line. Side by side. Who's it going to be? It's Bradley. Bradley takes the win, crashing across the line. Bradley, Hagen, Braille, Drew, Oberstadt, your top 5 as they wreck across the line. Whoa, that's a finish and a half. As Bradley going to be torn up going to the winner's circle. Obviously, Control will have a look at that one to see what happens. But we will take a quick look at that again to see exactly what conspired. However, your race winner is going to be that man, Jacob Bradley, as he takes the victory by 0.02 seconds on the circuit. So as he comes around, we'll let him do his burnouts here, see if he's got anything in tow. We'll let him do his celebration here, and then we'll take a look at that, and then we'll do the interviews. So we're going to let him have his moment here. Your unofficial winner. Obviously, a very battle-torn car indeed. You can see the scratches. You can see the marks. But it's still got enough to make it through to finish this race. So as he celebrates out here. Again, don't want to dilute his celebration. We're going to let him have his moment here. And then we'll take a look at what happened. And then we don't go anywhere as we have interviews with Bradley, Hagen, and Braille before the night is done. And then hopefully I can let my voice rest. So as Bradley finishing up his celebration, let's take a look back and see what exactly happened here coming to the line. Let me find it on my battle box here. Give me 2 seconds. So that's the checker flag. We'll jump to that moment, and then we'll go to a different angle. So this is coming to the line. Let's see if we can find a kind of a good angle here to see this. So it's all going to start back on this back straightaway here. We'll hide that information, and we'll hide the race winner information. So we're going to go see if we can get a good angle. All right, we'll check this angle here. So coming down the back stretch, you can see Hagan trying to make that car wide as he can, going high, going low, and they're battling for position here. Bradley tries to go low. Hagan blocks it, gets Hagan up the road a little bit here. Now we're going to stop here. They're side by side. We'll see if we can find a slightly better angle here. We'll go with a wide shot just to see this. And we'll play it out here at half speed. So Bradley coming up here, gets on the inside. They're side by side, drifting up. Bradley doing what he needs to do. Hagan doing what he needs to do as well. Hagan comes a little bit low, maybe loose off the corner, smacks it into Bradley. Now still side by side. Bradley not going to get boxed out here. They're fighting. Hagan at the line. Looked like it would have been Hagan. That wall hit, stops it, and there they come across the line and finish it out. And then you can see the rest of the carnage afterwards is also, looks like Braille and Drew also came to something. We'll quickly just rewind here just to see that. So we'll focus on that in the 74 real fast. Yeah, they also touched and came to blows. But it's just scrappy finish there for the line. Obviously, we'll hear from both drivers in a second. But at the end of the day, it comes down to, we'll see if we can play this at 4F speed. This is how much it all comes down to sometimes there. Well, it's a little bit short, but we'll let that stay out. That's how much it can come down to sometimes between winning and losing. We'll see if we can get a little bit of a shot here real fast. That's why we need cameras. And there, right there. That's how close it was on track between our two winners. They battled hard for stage 2. They battled out throughout the night, and Bradley ends up winning the war, and he will take victory here tonight. So we'll go back to live action, and now that will pivot us nicely to our interviews. So we will hear from who is in the waiting room right now. We'll hear from who we can hear and hear their thoughts indeed. So we'll usually do this in another way. Usually we go 1, 2, 3, but we're going to let maybe Bradley and Hagan talk it out a little bit here because obviously they've had a bit of an interesting counter. So we're going to let Braille come in first, hear his thoughts, and we'll move upward through the grid. Jeremy, this is Kevin, the ABM booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
We're going to let Jacob and John stay in the waiting room for a little bit, but we'll talk to you first here. You had a very interesting race and very preventable race as you carved right through the field on that point. But we got to start at the beginning. So looking at qualifying, you had a decent run mid-pack per se, but left something on the table. Were you thinking that car had a very race-speedy car? You think that car was going to come to life in the race, or were you thinking this is going to be a race of just survival?
I mean, I missed it in qualifying. I missed the boom in turn 1, like both laps. So that's kind of what screwed my laps in qualifying. And I knew if I could get up at least in the top 10, it was more of a track position race anyway. So that's why we flipped the stage there at the end of stage 1, and we were up there for the majority of stage 2. And then I got some damage trying to avoid the 36 spinning. Whenever he got spun in front of me. And then, yeah, after that, it was try and stay at least top 15 until we kind of got a lucky caution there at the end, but put on some tires that we saved and then flew to the front.
Yeah, indeed, and that we're going to talk about nicely brings me to my second question. Obviously, we saw the strategy. I got to ask, because I was kind of scratching my head there on the strategy with 35 to go. You elected to stay out, even though we saw so many drivers try that strategy and sink like a rock or stone or a mobster with concrete shoes. So I need to hear at least a thought from someone. What was the mindset of staying out there? Maybe for a quick time caution, obviously for that lucky caution that came out 15. What was the mindset? Because if it went green, it didn't look like it was going to be good for you and co.
Well, it was kind of my idea because I was talking with my teammate Patrick, and I kind of talked him into it because he's like, yeah, that's kind of a good idea if it happens. It was basically just based off of a caution, if because it kind of had been a crapshoot during the second stage whether or not we could go more than 2 laps without a massive pile up, and then we finally got some green flag running, and then we got a couple cautions there at the end or at the beginning of stage three. So I was more or less just hoping that luck would go my way, but and hoping that it would go long enough after that initial caution where we stayed out, and just to get some like at least 15 laps on the leader's tires, and then have a shot at it. The caution came a little bit later than I would have liked, but it still came, and we came home third.
Yeah, indeed. Speaking of, obviously, with 12 laps to go, I then highlighted it kind of flipped on its head because at first it played in the hands of Hagen, Feather Plays, Nolan, who came in at 35, but they probably took their last set. You guys came in and took your tires with 15 to go. So I assumed, at least kind of hypothesized, that you were going to eat, and then another caution came out later. So do you think that second caution really made the difference? The one to give us an unofficial green light checkered was the deal breaker to get yourself in the top three? Or do you think if it ran green from lap 12 to finish, you think you could have still got on the podium regardless of how it shook out?
If it had stayed green, we probably would have been seventh there. I don't think I would have gotten much more than that, just because they were the top five and top six were gone the majority of the race, at least compared to me. But with that last caution coming out, it was perfect. I kind of wish we got another caution because then if I could have got a couple more spots and then got another caution, I could have really went to them. But it worked out the way it was supposed to work out, I guess.
Yeah. Speaking of that finish, we obviously saw you and Drew kind of come the contact at the end there. We took a look at it. It seemed like it was just a last second thing. But any thoughts on that final lap? Because obviously you and Drew were fighting hard for third.
I went back and looked at it, and I looked at my telemetry. At least on my end, I was still turning left. So I don't know what happened and how it got to the point to where we were walling each other. But yeah, I thought it was fair game if he came down into me or if I came up into him. At that point, I mean, the leaders were doing it, so I was like,
Yeah.
all right, well, I want third. So, but I again, I looked at my telemetry. My wheel was turning left, like the way it was supposed to be, and I didn't mean to do it on purpose, but we came together, and that was kind of it.
Yeah, it was late fighting indeed. But looking further on, obviously you had a good recovery drive at Watkins Glen from, I think you were quoting, it was basically broken. You got a top 15, and now a podium here at third. You have your win already in the back pocket by winning Bristol Dirt. So looking at Martinsville next week, another short track. I know it's one of those tracks that does play into your hands. Do you think it's a track we'll see that 74 fighting for a win next week?
I sure hope so. I love Martinsville. I know a lot of people don't like it because it's usually a trying to use my non swear words. It's usually a crap show. And yeah, I love chaos. As you can tell, I love when everything is just going crazy and no one can figure out what's going on. And usually that's what Martinsville is every time we go there. And usually it's a caution fest. So hoping on maybe not a caution fest, but hoping for a good race, and we'll hopefully get another win.
Yeah, hopefully indeed, because obviously it's been a good, strong start to the season. We'll see if it all plays out. But we've gotten to the point of the interview. Does anyone want to thank family, friends, sponsors, whatever? The floor is yours. Take it away.
Alrighty, thank you. Yeah, I got to thank Smeal Racing Designs and John Smeal. Puts the best paint schemes on the track every week, so go check him out. And yeah, thanks to everybody that supports me in doing this. Got to thank my girlfriend for letting me do this. I know I wasn't supposed to be doing this full time, but she is graciously allowing me to do this. So thanks to her again, and thanks to ABN for putting on the broadcast. Love putting our product out there and love having you guys do it for us.
All right, been great talking to Jared Braille. Again, I feel like we'll talk to you for the end of the year, but regardless, take care. Have a good rest of your week.
You as well.
And that was our third place finisher, Jeremy Braille, and that will pivot us nicely to our second place finisher, John Hagen. We'll hear his thoughts now. John, this is Kevin in the ABN booth. You got a copy?
What's up, Kevin?
Obviously, not the way you wanted that to go, but before we get to the end, we'll have to start at the beginning. Obviously, again, we can kind of scoop through qualifying. You had a good qualifying run. You took pole position away from Bradley, and it seemed like overall that car looked locked in. So overall, I guess what was the secret to making that car fast around Texas?
Clean air. Just make sure you're not using that right front up because you have the clean air. Be patient on your throttle and make sure you're not throwing so much wheel or so much throttle into it that it's shoving out the corner. That was pretty straightforward. When you're in traffic, it's the same thing, but you have to do it at an amplified rate because even if you're pushing more an aero because the car sucks in dirty air, you still have to be patient on it. You'll get it all back on the straightaway with the draft. So that's what I was sort of rocking with. We didn't really get a lot of green flag runs, though, to show who could save tire and who couldn't.
Moving further on, obviously the first two stages, you won both of them. If anything you want to add in those stages, go right ahead. But looking further on, we got into the final stage, and we got to a point where caution was falling at weird points, and you decided to come in at lap, I believe, 173. And I got to, I guess, ask directly, because we saw some cars stay out, and you came in. Obviously, from what we saw, it was probably pretty much not good if you would have stayed out. But was that your last set of tires coming in at lap 173, or did you have another set if needed?
No, that was the last set. I mean, we weren't going to have an extra set anyways, even if the whole race went green. So people who saved a set were just blessed. I don't know.
Fair enough.
I held out false hope that we could go green, and the people who had the true hope that it wouldn't didn't take tires and then took them later. So, yeah.
Speaking of kind of going into that thought process, obviously probably disappointment when that caution came out with 12 to go, but it seemed like you and Nolan were working together. So theoretically, I do kind of ask that point as well. Were you and Nolan, maybe because you both Smeal Racing design teammates, if I'm not mistaken, was there maybe a slight, maybe not allegiance, but maybe a point where protect each other until 5 to go, 3 to go or something? Or was it just we fight if we need to battle?
Just started that with like 30 to go or 31 or whatever. We knew we had fresher than the 6 or 7 in front of us. So our goal was to save as much as we could while maintaining track position just in case that caution did come out. That's what we did. So we really weren't racing each other. I was opening up entries, giving them air, whatnot. After that, when the caution came out, it was like 12 to go when we went green. And we talked to each other and we're like, yeah, we pretty much have to go as hard as we can. We have to create a gap to the guys on fresh tires. And draft's so strong, we couldn't exactly create a big enough gap. I maybe had a shot if that went green to the end right there too. Didn't. Caution came out with 5 to go. And from there, it's like, well, you had what, a 6/10 gap? Now you have a 0/10 gap on a restart. So, I mean, at that point, I was dead in water.
Yeah, I was going to bring my next point, and obviously we got to kind of get to the elephant in the room here about the final 2 laps. And I kind of just will preface it this way, is just take those last 2 laps from your mind, because obviously the restart seemed okay, but obviously knowing that Bradley had those fresh tires, it almost seemed like it was a waiting game. But what was your mindset in those last 2 laps to try to keep that one car ahead of that 06?
Drew got a good launch, threw it into my bumper, and we launched. And it was actually a really, really, really good launch on Jacob. I really wanted them to get side by side, or even Drew to clear and stay in front for even just a set of corners, because his tires were so much better. I mean, a set of corners would have made a huge deal. Jacob wouldn't get to me if they were side by side, but that didn't happen. So 3 and 4, I tried to get through there the best I could, and then on the last lap, he just had a monster run through 1 and 2 just because he had fresher tires. And I blocked. That was the only choice I had, because if I let him inside, he just clears. And he got to my inside out of 4. And so my thought process there was give him a door, kill his momentum, side draft him, bring him back, run high. Don't let him pull you right back. And it almost worked. I just hit him twice instead of side drafting him. But I don't blame him for shoving me up the track after I hit him the second time. 1's good, but 2's not. So no ill feelings to him. But he did good. He did what he needed to.
Yeah, we definitely saw that, and obviously, again, we slowed it down. We watched it. You tried all you could, and by about maybe the line was maybe 100, 200 feet more would have been the one in the victory lane today, but obviously wasn't meant to be. But overall, you still got sauce. You do have 2 wins. You obviously like the playoffs, but obviously, I know you're a very hungry driver that wants to win more. So looking through the calendar, we got Martinsville and Indianapolis these next 2 weeks. Which track feels like it plays in the fancy of Mr. John Hagen? Because I think it's Indianapolis if I had to take a guess from what I've seen. But out of those 2 tracks, which one is a stronger wheelhouse for you?
You said Martinsville and Indy?
Yep, Martinsville,
Probably Indy.
Indianapolis.
It's probably Indy. Martinsville, I know the last 2 weeks have been terrible. It's probably going to be worse. So I don't have any hope. Well, I know I can go fast, but I don't have any hope that we'll have a good race at Martinsville. But Indianapolis, it gets spread out really, really, really nicely at Indy. So hopefully people don't lose their minds because they only get 15 laps of fuel or whatever and try to kill each other lap in, lap out like tonight. So I don't know. I'm looking forward to Indy.
Yep, obviously we'll have to see how that plays out. But obviously we gotten to the point of the show. If there's anyone to thank, family, friends, sponsors, whatever, floor is yours. Take it away.
Shout out my beautiful girlfriend. She's awesome, supportive, and I appreciate her being supportive of me doing this week in, week out. Shout out the team at SRD. I know we didn't finish where we wanted to, but still a good effort throughout the entire crew. Shout out ARCS for putting on this league, doing the best they can. I know the admins have a task taller than Goliath when it comes to running this thing, so shout out them. Shout out y'all at ABN and you, Kevin, for putting on this broadcast. And, we'll go get it at Martinsville.
Obviously, good positive opportunity to have. Obviously, again, second sucks, but at least you're keeping your chin held high. But regardless, take care. Have a good rest of your week.
Thank you.
That was John Hagan, our second-place finisher, and that leaves us with one person left. Our race winner got a podium last week, filling in for Ryan Pinnell. Now finally finds himself on the top spot. We'll hear from him now. Jacob, this is Kevin the ABN booth. Got a copy.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Obviously, what a week a difference makes. Last week filling in for Ryan, now taking our entry and taking a victory. But we'll have to start at the beginning before we can get to the end. Obviously, qualifying, you had a fast rocket around this machine. So again, got to ask the same question I asked with Hagan. What was your secret of making that car as fast as it needed to go?
I don't really know much with the next-gen car still, so I kind of just drove it like a typical car at Texas. Kind of just back up your entry at 1 and 2, make sure it hooks the bottom before you pick it up wide open. And 3 and 4, you got to stay as wide open as you possibly can, or you aren't going to have a good run to the line. So I was pretty much wide open over there, and it had a good lap until Hagan put one down about 400s quicker than me.
Mm-hmm. And definitely, that's something a lot of drivers have said this season, but obviously you didn't let it get down yet. Moving further on, obviously the first and second stage, it seemed like, and correct me if I'm wrong, but obviously maybe your ill experience in the next-gen machine, it seemed like you didn't have a long-run car on that machine. Am I wrong in assuming that this car seemed to struggle on the long run?
That first run, I really struggled in dirty air. I really don't have the experience in dirty air, so I tried to drive behind people, would lose the nose, burn off the front tires, but like stage 2, I got some clean air, got some more laps, and then kind of just gradually introduced myself to it one car at a time, and it definitely seemed to pay more dividends there at the end. I wasn't falling off as bad, and was able to stay about 4th there so I could roll strategy and just try and see what worked out on the other side, try and see if caution would come.
Yep, trying to see, indeed. And obviously that brings us nicely, obviously first and second stage, you basically second stage to Hagan, and then strategy came out. And I asked Braille this question, and I'm going to ask you the same question as well. With 35 laps to go, you're in the top 5, top 6, and you decided to be a little bold and stay out. Now, for some other drivers a little bit further back, I kind of understood it, roll the dice, but you seem to have a fast car throughout the night. So what was the mindset of staying out at 35 to go? Because if another caution didn't come out, it seemed like you were throwing away a top 5 for ending up in P20, unless a win was the true mindset of tonight.
Always got to race on your part-time in these series to win. If you're racing for top 5s, there's no point.
Mm-hmm.
So I saw where I was at, and I said I was probably going to finish behind Hagan and Drew Jua. So I was going to roll strategy and hope that it came out on the other side. And I think I had probably an 11th place car before that. I was kind of cycled back to there and was stagnant. So rolling, 8 spots back, I would be fine doing that to have one shot at getting a win and going for glory.
Mm-hmm. Moving further on, obviously we do got to talk about the Connor Nolan incident. We took kind of a look at it, but from your perspective, what exactly happened between you and Connor there with about 7 laps to go?
So like every car on the way up through the field, especially the top 5, they'd make one move on you, and I'd deal with that. I'd go to the other lane. When I went to the other lane, he started covering the other lane, so I shot left to try and go beneath him, and when I turned left, I saw him start turning down. So there's not much time for me to slam the brakes, and that's not my problem to deal with your blocks.
Mm-hmm. Obviously, we got to talk to them now, because obviously later that incident, Nolan caused the caution, and then obviously not your fault. I'm just noting that that incident happened to cause the caution. A little bit later, you got loose, slowed up, and the caution came out. But then you got the restart in question with 3 to go, and obviously it seemed like you were pretty much in the eaten good situation. You had the run. So take us through those last 2 laps from your perspectives. You got jumped on the restart, but you made those tires work. So we heard Hagen's perspective of those final 2 laps. Let's hear your perspective of those final 2 laps from your perspective.
Yeah, I thought that I had kind of lost the race off the restart. I didn't expect Drew to get as good of a jump as he did as well. So I lost an extra spot there, was able to cross Drew back over out of 2. And I saw the gap, and I said it's going to take a pretty big charge through 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 to get there. And drove it off on the bottom there, got a good run, chased him down through 1 and 2, made sure to wait, and he didn't wait. He got tight, so I knew I was going to have a chance. Tried to go below him, and he started to try and block me down to the apron, and I allowed him to overdrive the corner in 3 and give me the chance I needed by just waiting there. Coming out of 4, he doored me once, and I was like, okay. Doored me twice. I was like, you ain't going to put me in the grass. So we ended up at the wall over there. I straight ended up making sure I wouldn't hit that grass and lose any of the speed that would cost me the win.
Yeah, obviously Hagen kind of said he didn't mean to do it twice, and obviously he has no ill will, and I'm assuming you'd have no ill will as well. It seems like again, both drivers seem...
it's
both drivers,
100% racing.
Yeah,
100% racing for the win right there.
Yep, both drivers fighting hard for the win, and both are respectful in the way it ended. Obviously, looking ahead, obviously you are a part-time entry. I know there was talks about Ryan trying to get you in a full-time entry. We'll see if those participate or not. But if you do, I guess we'll ask that point, looking at the next 2 weeks of both Martinsville and Indianapolis, if you were to possibly attend any of those tracks seem your fancy? Do you think any of those tracks you could be strong at?
If I was racing, I'd like Indianapolis. I grew up around here, so it's my home track. I like to do well there, but unfortunately, I got work on Sundays now, so you aren't going to see me for at least a month.
Okay.
A month break in between. But.
Well, at the very least, that we got to see you for those 2 races. Had some great results there, but say, at the very least, it's still fun to see you. But regardless, you got to the point. If there's anyone you want to thank, family, friends, sponsors, whatever, the floor is yours. Take it away.
I want to thank all the A Squared admins for letting me come out. Ryan for asking me to race a week ago to get me accustomed to racing with these guys, and I thank you for putting on the broadcast, and just everybody watching back at home.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's been great talking to you, Jacob. Hopefully, if you can get some free time, we'll see you again. But regardless, take care. Have a good rest of your week.
Thank you.
And that was our race winner, Jacob Bradley. And with that, our night is officially done, and our interviews have officially concluded. So as you can see through the replay there, the carnage that awaited the finish, but still, that's not going to change much, as Jacob Bradley is your race winner. And we will now take a look, as I close the right graphics here, we'll take a look at the final results here before we head on out of here. Jacob Bradley obviously takes the victory over John Hagen by a gap of a 0.010, so a little bit bigger than what I assumed, but still a big gap regardless. Jeremy Braille brings home a top 3, good recovery drive after having a poor quali. He'll be 3rd. Drew Jua, first race here officially, as technically he missed his start last week. He'll get P4. Patrick Oberstadt, again, on that 4-tire strategy, gets top 5. Brandon Feather plays 6. Good recovery job by Seth Wanzing. Gets the 7th along Ikavatsi. Blake Galloway kept actually bringing him up a couple times with 0506. He had a good recovery drive as well in that 05. He gets a top 10. And Mark Dila as well. So overall, a few drivers got the strategy worked out with 4 tires, and they made it work by getting a top 10. Corey Pinnell, Matt Verdon, Michael Cheeseburger Lawrence, Briley Wright round out the top 14. Moving through the results. Elliot Longnecker, Elfridge George, Colin McDonough, Steve Tucker, Brian Johnson, and Riley Murciano round out the top 20. Edward Marshall, James Kerr, Marshall Harris, Chris Fleming, Gavin Hutzbuff, and Davey Hawk round out the top 26. And then we get to the cars that either retired or got terminal damage based on an incident. Obviously, we have Connor Morris in 27th, Connor Knowlton in 28th, who is right now, I believe, having a conversation with Jacob Bradley. Ryan Pinnell, 29th, Josh Battles, 30th. Brian Dixon, 31st, David Wright, 32nd, Tommy Withers, 33rd, Daniel Michelle, 34th, Ross Bax, 35th, and getting to the drivers that retired or crashed out, Pressy, 37th, Michael Joy, 36th, Matthew Kent, 38th, Dale Markowski, 39th, Ethan Wood, 40th, Lily Pelletier Sharp, 41st, Kevin Feemster, 42nd, And last but certainly not least, Jonathan Adams, who had that very vicious crash start this race. He beat Pori 43. So that will take care of tonight. Obviously, as you can sound by my voice still not fully 100%. And when you get a photo finish, you got to bring the energy, and I hope I did that job quite nicely, even though my voice is going to be feeling it in the morning. Let's take a quick look at what's coming up on the ABN calendar. Obviously, right now, next week we'll go in that detail, but I believe we do have some more community series for the WCW Monday Night Nitro on ABN Studios. Keep an eye on that. Also, Winstell's tape play broadcasts are here as well, along with a few other series. Keep an eye on the ABN Twitch channel as well for Champ Car and Winstell. They'll be live on different days, so check the ABN website for that. Meanwhile, come back here next week, 7 o'clock Eastern, for the next A-Squared race, which will be at Martinsville. 2 weeks to go before we get the halfway done in the regular season. And with only one driver having double wins, this can easily shake up, as a lot of drivers have been showing pace and could crash the playoff party. But until then, I'm going to have a go rest. I'm going to have a nice little water and a lodging break. But I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in. Thank you for following along in the action. Hopefully, we can see you here next week as the A-Square team takes on the slow paperclip of Martinsville. But until then, take care. Have a good rest of your week.